Hey, everybody, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 176, entitled E3 2019 Reactions. I'm your host, Steve, but I am also joined by the regular podcast crew of Greg. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Hey, everyone. Let's talk some games.
Woohoo! Games and E3 time. We're also joined by Barry. Hey, Barry.
Hey, guys. Happy E3 Day.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we have a special guest back with us again is Hassan. Hey, Hassan.
Hey, I'm here. Yay.
I let you out of the dungeon.
Not tied up today. If you are new to the NintendoFuse Podcast, thanks so much for joining us today. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be alerted every time we post a new video and go live and stuff like that. And if you do like what you see, hit that like button. That'd be awesome. If you're listening later after the fact, maybe on a podcast app of your choice, be sure to subscribe there as well. And share this video and share the podcast with other Nintendo fans. We'd be grateful for you just sharing that stuff out there. Also, we do want to just encourage you guys to participate in the chat room. So everything that we're talking about tonight, if you got some thoughts, be sure to throw that in the chat room later or during the show. But later, if you're watching, we still want to hear your comments and things like that. So be sure to do that. We have a lot to talk about today because there's a lot to talk about from E3 and it's just really getting started. So before we jump into any of the E3 conversations, because there is a lot of it, let's talk quickly about what we've been playing recently. So, Greg, what have you been playing?
Well, I was playing some Super Smash Brothers because I'm just super psyched for the latest announcements we'll go over later. But I was trying to wrap up and have all the characters finally unlocked for to be able to play with other people and might finally get a global score ranking at sometime soon. So
nice. Barry, what you been up to lately?
On the Switch, I've been doing Hollow Knight, at least a little bit of it. So far, so good. And then I finished Team Sonic Racing, at least as much as I plan to be playing it. I'm still doing Final Fantasy XIV, but not nearly as much right now because we're in that content lull. Still doing Dragalia, finishing up an event today. I'm really close to being out on Pokemon Go. It's draining me too much. I didn't even do anything today in it. And other than that, I've just been working on the house, so I haven't played that much.
Nice. I surprise. I've been playing a lot of Rocket League lately, so that's no surprise at all. I also played some FIFA 18 of all games, but I kind of got a little FIFA on my mind from the recent news from EA that that's going to be a legacy edition for 2020, and so I decided, you know what, I just booted up 18. I hadn't played it in a while and played a couple matches, and then I did play the NES online stuff. Hassan, what have you been playing lately?
On the Switch, I think pretty much just Smash Brothers. Just getting back through World of Light still. I probably still have a lot more left to go. So here and there, just plugging away at it and enjoying the game. And I did have some people over a week or two ago at the house, and we had like 8-player Smash going and everything. It's always a good time for sure. And then playing not on the Switch, but it is a game that is on Switch, but playing on Xbox, Overcooked. And I got it, I don't know if it was a Xbox Live Gold game or something, but I ended up getting it, and my wife's like, oh, let's try it out. And I was like, you know what I've heard about this game? Like this game like ruins friendships and marriages and everything. Like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, let's try it out. Sure enough, we were like, no, what are you doing? Like yelling at each other. And it was intense, but she actually just wanted to play some more. I was like, I'm sorry, I just said I would do a podcast. She's like, okay, fine. So, yeah, it's really fun. It's definitely pretty cool. So I'm tempted to look into Overcooked 2 and on Switch, especially because that'll be nice and portable as well. So, yeah.
Cool. Jakester said he's been busy streaming Lego Lord of the Rings and finally started NG Plus for Xenoblade 2. And looks like Jared has been playing Smash, Pokemon Go, played all the Trover saves in the universe, and finally got around to Edith Finch, and that's about it for him. So lots of games going on. The chat room always plays more games than we do. Like we have no time, especially Barry, and chat room is always playing games. So we should just hand over the podcast to the chat room at some point, because they play a lot more games than we do.
Although, if I can add, I did purchase like 3 games today. So
Ooh, nice. Were the games that like were announced today and launched today, or did you just happen to like get into them because of the sales or something like that?
pretty much one of each. There was one I've been wanting to get. That was the Castlevania collection, and then one that was announced today, which was the Contra collection, and then one from the sale, which was Cuphead.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about those sales real quick. If you're not familiar, just check out, I think it's e3.nintendo.com. They have a bunch of games on sale right now, like up to 50% off this week. I don't even want to start the list. There's just a ton of games on there. So just check those out. And Cuphead's actually one of the ones that I was looking at, because I've been holding off. Because I was like, should I get it? Should I not get it? And then I saw it was on sale and was like, yeah, that might be the time that I'm gonna finally pull the trigger on that one. So Jakester said he got Final Fantasy VII on sale, so that's awesome. Yeah, so let's just talk general thoughts about E3 before we dive into all the details of what was announced and everything. Just kind of a general thought about everything that's happened so far. So we really just got started with official E3. Was the first day today, but we have like all this stuff that's been leading up to it, and kind of over the weekend, a bunch of companies always jump in, except for Sony this year. They're totally absent. But Microsoft had their stuff over the weekend, Square Enix, Ubisoft, Devolver Digital, all these other companies kind of did some early stuff. They usually do kind of leading into official E3 week. So just a kind of general overview. What do you think about E3 2019 so far? Greg, let's start with you.
Well, I've only really paid attention to Nintendo stuff, so like I didn't watch Ubisoft and I didn't watch Square Enix. I did do like some recaps of some of the announcements, because obviously it was pertinent Nintendo titles and stuff discussed, so I did pick up on those. But in terms of actual conferences and shows and stuff, I didn't watch anything outside of the Nintendo Direct.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think of it though so far?
It's been really good. I thought it seemed like a good year outside of, obviously Sony's not there, but yeah, I was really happy with the announcements, especially from like Square Enix, because I really like a lot of their games. So yeah.
Cool. Barry, what do you think of E3 so far?
Before today, it's been hit or miss. It's definitely been not near the top or anything like that. Microsoft was kind of slow. I was praying. They were talking about bringing people together, and I was like, oh, come on, just do something with Nintendo. That's what I'm waiting for. And of course, nothing happened. Project Scarlet looks great so far. I mean, it's just a bunch of people talking technical language, which doesn't mean anything if the games don't utilize it. So I'm interested to see if Microsoft can bounce back or what they're doing. The Lego car was probably one of the best parts. I know everyone goes crazy for Keanu Reeves. That was really cool. But I like the Lego car better. I thought that was more impressive than getting an actor. A lot of Microsoft stuff. Like, it's funny, if you look at their past years, they were like, console exclusive and like all this. They were like highlighting, we have exclusives. This time it was just world premiere. That's it. Like, they didn't even say the word exclusive. I don't even think once in the entire show, which was kind of interesting. And of course, Tales of Arise was shown off. That looks awesome. I can't wait for that. I hope that comes to Switch. Outside of that, Bethesda was boredom. I mean, Bethesda was just... Bethesda, to me, had plants. It had to have plants in the audience. There were people screaming and going crazy for every release. Like, Fallout 76, it's no surprise that had a terrible launch. Like, everyone knows it. It had a garbage launch. And it's like, they came out and they apologized for it, which was really cool. I'm glad they did it. They owned it. But they're like, oh, yeah, so we're going to talk about Fallout 76. Yeah, like, people are going crazy. I'm like, really? this is a game that's been booed by everybody. Like, you people are screaming as if your jobs depend on it. And I really do think it was employees in there. I think it was planted. It's nice to see Switch get some support from them, though. Bethesda's been good with support, but most of their games don't really appeal to me. So it was slow. I didn't do anything with EA. EA had their whole big EA Play thing. I actually just watched the Star Wars thing, which looks pretty good. But the Devolver is always a fun time. I'm sad that they're only putting, at least what they showed, only 2 DLCs are on Switch. That first game they showed off would be great on Switch. Hopefully it comes. But the fact that they're making an actual light gun arcade cabinet that you could buy is amazing. And I really wish more companies would do that again. Who else? Ubisoft. Ubisoft had another slower showing. They had the Punisher, which was cool, with his dog for no reason. I mean, he had a reason to be there, but I don't know why the dog was there. They talked more about movies and had a concert than really showing off games. And that Gods and Monsters at the end was probably the best thing they showed off. And the whole time I'm screaming, like, come on, Kid Icarus. Like, here's your Nintendo collab this year. And while they didn't come out and say it, it really wouldn't surprise me if Gods and Monsters turns out to have Kid Icarus content for the Switch, because it is coming to the Switch. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. And I kind of hope it does, because it has to deal with Greek mythology. And the fact that Just Dance 2020 is coming out, not only for the Switch, but for the Wii, and no longer Wii U. So the Wii has actually survived past the Wii U, which I think is one of the first times, if not the first time in history, that a console predecessor lived on past its successor. And then Square. Square's conference was overall good. A lot of games I'm interested in. A lot of focus on Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I know so many people are obsessed with. I think the Avengers game looks subpar. I know that there's been the characters way before the movies, but it looks like they were trying to emulate the movies, but they got the stunt doubles instead. Like, it just does not look that well. And Hawkeye is missing. Like, why is Hawkeye not there? Like if you're gonna go with the movie cast, or at least the movie roster, where's Hawkeye? But yeah, they showed off some good stuff. Some confusing things too, like that Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer was kind of confusing. I haven't finished Kingdom Hearts 3. But yeah, overall they were okay. One big thing, or one big takeaway from this E3 is no one's showing gameplay except Nintendo. Like, and the Square showed it with Final Fantasy VII. But like, outside of that, like, everything's been CGI trailers. Like, no one showing gameplay at all. No real demos. We had a little bit of a Doom 2016 demo on a phone showing the streaming, but that was about it.
Yeah. Hassan, what do you think of E3 so far this year?
Yeah, it was an okay E3 overall. I think it's one of those sort of in between years, because next year you have PS5, Project Scarlet. So like, I think there's going to be a lot of new announcements that are going to be saved for the next gen stuff. And so this year was kind of, I felt like there was a lot more of let's see more of things that were already announced rather than major mind-blowing new announcements, because I think some of that's being saved for next gen. And so I think that was kind of the general feeling. I do agree with Barry where there was very few gameplay demos, so it would have been nice to see more of some of that. But I watched a couple of the conferences. I saw the Microsoft conference at a Microsoft store at the mall, because they were doing like a little E3 fan event or something, there was like 6 people there, including myself and my wife. So they did some giveaways. So the first round of giveaways, my name was picked first, and I got to get there were like kind of lame prizes at first. And so I got what did I even get? Oh, a hat, a mixer hat. I was like, all right, whatever. And then they did a second round of giveaway for some better prizes, and there was an Xbox controller pillow and a headset by HyperX, I think it was. So my name was picked. They did another round of the same people again, so my name was picked again the first time. It's like, all right, just my luck. So I got the headset. And then my wife's name was the second one picked, and she got the Xbox controller pillow, but she actually ended up giving it to, there's this other guy there that the whole time he was like, I have to win the pillow. I have to win the pillow. If anybody gets it, I'll trade you, whatever. So she just gave it to him ultimately, because like, we don't need it. But yeah, we were just winning everything there. So, nice. Yeah, I mean, overall it's been a decent E3. So would be nice to get more like big game announcements, but I'm sure that's going to be coming like next year and that sort of thing as they have to promote their new systems, and maybe next year Nintendo has to promote the Switch Pro or whatever. So I think some of the big stuff is going to be safe for next year, but decent E3 overall this year.
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys so far. Yeah, it's not been that kind of like, oh my gosh, there's like amazing stuff around every corner this year, but it's been pretty solid. It seems like, this at this time in a lot of the console cycles, this is kind of what we tend to see, sort of thing, just kind of building, but nothing amazing that just like knocks your socks off. It would be cool to see some cooler stuff. I liked the new Elite controller. The Xbox controller looks amazing, and I wasn't that much tempted to get the last one because it's so expensive. But this new one, I'm like, if I end up with some extra cash, I might end up getting one of those. And
if they released it in white, I'd be so much more tempted. I got the white one, the Elite one that came out recently.
Yeah.
It's so slick. So if this one was in white, like that might push me over to upgrade. But right now, I'm holding out.
Yeah. The Forza DLC looks great. Lego Star Wars, some other stuff. So from what I've heard, I haven't seen all of the conferences, but I've watched a lot of them. And so far, it seems like Square is, at least until Nintendo, Square was the one that kind of brought the best show so far. But it has been a little surprising, like you guys have said, that not as much gameplay has been shown, and it's a lot of CGI cutscenes and stuff like that. Some cool games, but it'd be great to actually see them running, and see some, what it's actually going to be like to play a lot of these games. So let's start with this past weekend, because Nintendo, before their E3 stuff, they had some tournaments this past Saturday, and they had 3 tournaments actually. They announced 2 in the very beginning, but then after Super Mario Maker 2 announcements and the Direct and everything, they actually said, hey, we're gonna have a Mario Maker 2 invitational tournament as well. So they had 4 kind of influencers and speedrunners come in and play. And in the end, Abdallah Smash 026 won over the Completionists. And it was kind of they play fastest time, then they get to choose who they want to go against in the second round. And those 2 winners kind of went head to head at the end in several different contests, and he won out. And they did also let us know that those courses, similar to Mario Maker 1, those courses will be available in Mario Maker 2 at some point, so you can be able to kind of test your speeds against them at some point when they do announce, or when they do release those courses that were at the invitational tournament. And then I'm just going to go ahead and run through the other 2 tournaments, and then we kind of discuss them just a little bit before we jump into all the announcements from today. They had a Splatoon 2 tournament. The winners were the GG Boys. I believe this is the 2nd year in a row that they won, I think. And they won. They're from Japan. They won over FT Win for the win from the US, and they swept them 4-0 in the best of 7 games. And they also announced that the final Splatfest will begin on July 18th, and it's called Splatocopolis. And the 2 things that you're going to choose from in the Splatfest is going to be chaos versus order. So do you prefer a world of chaos, or do you prefer a world of order? And I'm sure it's probably going to tie into the story and everything, just like the last Splatfest from Splatoon 1 did. And then they had a Smash Brothers 3v3 tournament, and Team Japan won over Team Europe in a 3-1 best of 5 series in the finals. And Sakurai also made announcement via video that they're going to announce the next DLC fighter at the E3 Direct. We do know what that is now because that's already passed. But at the time, we were like, cool, that'd be awesome. No big announcements then, but we knew that we'd have one a couple days later at the Direct. So, Greg, did you get a chance to watch any of the tournaments or anything, or does any of that kind of stand out to you guys, or to you, Greg, about what was announced?
Well, Mario Maker, I did actually watch the final round of that, as it came on like after the Treehouse was over today for some reason. So I was like, oh, hey, maybe I guess I'll see how the finale turned out. And then that was really cool. So probably go back and watch the first 2 segments just to see kind of how it more played down. But yeah, as you said, they were mostly influencers and none of the major Mario Maker 2 players that really were involved with it. So yeah, that pretty good job to Abdallah. He's a Chicago representative. So
Nice. Barry, what'd you think of the all the tournaments?
I caught the Mario Maker 2 one, and I loved those stages. Like I didn't think I would be that engrossed in it, but I was. Then Splatoon 2 came on, and I left the room. I was like, I got other stuff to do, and I didn't even have it on in the background. Like I was just like, no, I'm just doing other things. I came back just in time for when they were presenting the trophy, so I got to see the whole Splatfest thing, and then I stayed around for the Smash Ultimate. And again, I didn't expect to get that engrossed into it, and it was just really entertaining. Like those are some really amazing matches, especially Japan at the end, just coming back because Europe seemed to be dominating like the whole time, and of course I was rooting for USA, and we got knocked out. But yeah, they were a lot of fun. I thought, Bowser did a good job as his first real public appearance, although you could tell he was totally reading from a teleprompter down below. A little bit too much, but it's his first appearance. And Sakurai with that tease. I was so hoping for a character reveal. But no, I thought they were good. I'm glad they did it. One thing I did notice is that the audience was not full. I would expect there to be more people there, and there were plenty of empty seats. And that kind of shocked me. Like, why are there empty seats here? This doesn't look good. Move people down, whatever you have to do. But no, they were entertaining for sure. At least the 2 I watched. And I'm assuming the Splatoon was entertaining.
Yeah. Hudson, did you get a chance to watch them?
I watched some of it. So I watched the Mario Maker one, which was great. I was very happy when they announced the Invitational because when they did the Mario Maker thing in the past where they did the courses, it's always fun because you don't know what they're going to come up with those. So it makes for an interesting little mini tournament. So that was fun. And then I started watching the Splatoon one, but totally random. But I was interrupted by a lizard in our house. So there was one that we saw a couple days ago, and then it got lost. And so I was watching TV, and there it goes walking across the floor. I'm like, oh, there we go. So then Operation Catch This Lizard. And so, getting all the stuff together, ran under the TV and trying to get it out, and ultimately ended up getting it out. So success there.
I had no idea that lizards would make their way up to Virginia.
Yeah, I mean it was like a small one, like nothing too crazy, but yeah, I mean it was so that kind of took away from my some of the viewership, but I got back in time for like the finals of the Splatoon one and watched the Splatocalypse announcement, which was really cool. I'm excited about that. Yeah, so then the Smash Brothers one, I had to go somewhere for dinner that evening, but then I came back and watched like the Sakurai video thing later. And so yeah, I always enjoy when Nintendo does these tournaments. It's a fun way to kind of showcase their games and makes it exciting. So definitely pretty cool.
Cool. Jared says, I think the Lizard is a Jex remake confirmed. Come there. So Jakesters are apparently not familiar with Jex. Jakester, you should look up Jex.
I thought it was Gex.
Gex? I don't know how to pronounce it. I just know what the game is, though. But the E after G, English is hard. So let's, before I caught, like, I think all of the Mario Maker stuff. That was cool. And then wasn't a big surprise that those courses would be available. And then I actually left. I had some other stuff going on during the Splatoon 2 tournament, so I didn't see any of that. I came back for the very, very end of the Smash Brothers tournament, and they did say they announced also a tournament that's going to be an online tournament for Smash, I think, coming up too. So you can check that out and participate that if you want to. I think it's I can't remember what site you sign up for, but you kind of sign up for on there, and they'll put you in, break you out in different brackets and all that stuff, and kind of tell you when to play and all that sort of thing. So yeah, cool. That's going on. All right. Tournament's behind us. we're moving on into E3. Nintendo Direct happened today. The podcast crew, Greg and Barry and I, did our live reactions. So if you haven't checked those out, you can do that after you listen here or watch here. Kind of see what we're thinking in the moment. But let's just go through all that they announced today, and it's so much. So we're going to do our best to keep it moving as fast as possible. This podcast might end up a lot longer than a typical one. We'll try to not go like for 5 hours, but let's start talking about the Nintendo Direct from E3. And again, if you want to throw your thoughts about any of the stuff we're talking about in the live chat, if you're watching live, go for it. We'd love to hear what you guys think about all this stuff too. So started off with that Smash Brothers reveal. That Smash Brothers DLC reveal. We actually got the very first, or the number 2, I guess, DLC character was announced right after Joker, and it is none other than the hero from Dragon's Quest. And so kind of showed off that, and it actually has a ton of different unique skin variations from the different heroes from different Dragon Quest games. At least it seems like that's going to be the idea, is going to be skins from different ones. I don't think they're going to be Echo Fighters, but might be, but we'll see. I think it's supposed to just be like skins, like the Bowser Jr. and switches into the different Koopalings as well. And then we also, let's just go ahead and talk about Dragon Quest because we followed it up with Dragon Quest 11 S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, which is some gigantic title of a game, but that was shown off. We knew this game was coming already. It's going to be an HD retro, like you have the HD stuff, but you also have the 16-bit visuals in this game as well, coming out September 27th. And the hero DLC character for Smash is coming out this summer. It wasn't an exact date, but just says the summer. And we're also getting Dragon Quest Builders 2 on July 12th. So let's go to you, Barry. What do you think of the Dragon Quest kind of segment to start off the Nintendo Direct?
This is one of those that's so funny because in America, this is such a niche title. And in Japan, this title is like the biggest, the way that like Americans will get excited over Call of Duty every year. Like to Japan, they're much bigger than Call of Duty. It is like almost a religion. And it's one of those things that part of me didn't think it was going to happen in Smash because it's another sword fighter. But I'm really happy they did it and the way they did it, because Dragon Quest has such really a rich history on Nintendo platforms. Outside of 7 and 8, originally they all appeared on Nintendo platforms for the first time, and 7 and 8 later came back. And I mean, if you think about it, even in Nintendo Power back in the day, for all those older people like myself, they wanted to get Americans into RPGs, so they gave everybody Dragon Quest, known as Dragon Warrior at the time, over here. They gave us all copies. Like, they pushed that game. They self-published, I believe, the first one too. So there's a rich history. So I'm so happy they're doing it. I'm so happy they're doing the skin thing that they did with Bowser Jr. I think it's brilliant. I think it's an easy way to include a bunch of characters without any development time, pretty much. I'm glad the Final Smash also incorporates more characters. I think that's just some fan service. And yeah, I'm super happy. I'm super stoked about it. I'm interested to see how he plays, because he has some unique things, it looks like, some turn-based menus. As for Dragon Quest 11, I've been sold on it. I have the PS4 version. I didn't play it because I was waiting for a Switch version, and I'm so happy to see the Switch version. I'm glad I waited. I do not think it should have been where it was in the Direct, though. I think that it could have just been in that sizzle reel at the end, and it would have been fine, because if it wasn't the last Direct, it was the one before that. They did a whole huge thing on Dragon Quest 11. I think they could have put something else in that slot. As for Dragon Quest Builders 2, I'm glad they, again, just went through that super quickly. That, I believe, was in the sizzle reel, because we did see that, and pretty extensively. If you watch the Square Enix demonstration, they went through Dragon Quest Builders 2 quite a bit. And I think I think one of the last Nintendo Directs, they went through it quite a bit too. So that looks fantastic. I didn't get to play the first one. I heard nothing but good things. But yeah, like Dragon Quest 11 is a definite. I'm gonna get and play. Dragon Quest Builders 2, I'm gonna get and hopefully find the time for. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm an RPG fan for life and have been for such a long time. So I am looking forward to the Dragon Quest content.
Cool. Looks like Jakester's with you. He says that he's hyped for anything Dragon Quest, and so and Jared thinks that it might end up going eventually the same way as Fire Emblem, kind of getting more and more excitement in the West, and maybe more and more people would know Dragon Quest, and it may become like Fire Emblem has over time. Hudson, what do you think about all this Dragon Quest announcements right at the very beginning?
So I guess, I don't know. So this was one of the character announcements that didn't really surprise me, just because for the past couple months, this was something that was like heavily rumored because of data mining and all that. And so it seemed like it was going to happen. But I have no personal attachment to the Dragon Quest series at all. So it's not something that I'm like necessarily excited about, but I definitely understand the impact that this franchise has. And as Barry said, especially in Japan. So I think it is a no-brainer, and I think I'm actually happy that they do have a Dragon Quest character for that reason, because I think it is a series that does deserve to be represented in Smash Brothers. Yeah, I think it's a good choice, but it's nothing that I'm personally interested in. So the game announcements for the Dragon Quest series also didn't really, or not necessarily announcements, but the more details of those didn't really interest me specifically. But yeah.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, do you think Square is going to actually give Nintendo more than 2 songs for Dragon Quest to use? Because that's all we've gotten for Final Fantasy, and that series is so rich in history. And in fact, they made every song of the soundtracks for free right now for all the Final Fantasies. Every one you could play and listen to all the songs for free. So could we get some of those in Smash 2 while you're at it? Like, just boost that roster up of music.
That would be great. Just when the Dragon Quest character comes, just throw in all these other Final Fantasy songs like alongside it or something in an update, or
Yeah, that'd be great for sure. Yeah, Hudson, I'm pretty much with you as well. I think this is really cool for a lot of people. I've just never been a huge fan. I think with a lot of people in the United States, though, in the West, there's a lot of us in that camp that we just never been a huge fan of Dragon Quest. But from seeing from afar, it's such an amazing franchise. I just never have gotten into it myself, but I can see, the importance of the hero character coming as DLC for Smash as well, and I won't probably be getting, especially Builders. I'm gonna look into 11 for sure, but Builders probably, it's not really my style of game, so I probably won't be getting that. But I'm gonna continue to look into to 11 for sure. Greg, I know you're a big Dragon Quest fan. Were you pretty excited about this?
Oh, definitely. I totally didn't see it coming. I didn't see how they could really make Dragon Quest fit into Smash, but obviously the way they did it was very genius and very respective of the series and everything like Barry's already talked about. So definitely very happy to see that representation there, and obviously any boost for the series is good for that. I mean, I've been a follower since the very first game. I've had the 4 on NES, and then didn't really play any of them until 9, until like 5 and 6 made it over here, and then 7 and 8 after that. So excellent series. Definitely can't wait for 11. It's going to be pre-ordered as soon as it's possible.
Cool. Then they moved on to Luigi's Mansion 3. So we knew this game was coming. It's set to launch sometime in 2019. Basically, it seems like Luigi's on a dream vacation with his friends Mario and others, and this dream vacation becomes a nightmare. Professor Egad's involved in this again. It seems like he's in this hotel sort of mansion, and he's got this upgraded Poltergust G-00, and a lot of similar kind of functionality with that the Poltergust this time, but it also has the ability to shoot out the plunger and kind of do some additional moves with that. And you also have a doppelganger of Luigi called Gooigi. And the Scare Scraper mode is back to play online and locally with up to 8 players. on 4 different Nintendo Switch systems, so 2 per system, I guess. And like I said, it's coming out in 2019. Hudson, what do you think of Luigi's Mansion 3? Are you excited about it?
It looks pretty cool. I think I'll probably end up getting it. Now, my wife especially is a fan of the games, and so just having the co-op with Guigi and stuff will be pretty cool to try out. I'm not sure yet if I guess I have to kind of find out more about the online modes or not the online necessarily, but just the multiplayer stuff to know if it would be worth each of us buying our own copy of the game to do some multiplayer things, if there's more benefits to that or not. But regardless, I'll definitely at least get one copy and enjoy it. I like some of the new abilities that they showed too. Definitely pretty fun. So it seems like it'll be a fun new game.
Cool. Jakester's confused. He's like, with the Ghostbusters remastered for Switch, which one do I go? And yeah, like Barry said in the chat, go both. Ghostbusters and Luigi's Mansion. It's a win-win. Greg, what do you think about Luigi's Mansion?
I'm still pretty on the fence about it, but I'm still pretty happy to see it coming because I did like the first one in Dark Moon on the 3DS, so like I'm not like super attached to the series, but I'm probably still end up getting it anyways because I've pretty much enjoyed the first 2 pretty good. So yeah, I can't wait for that one as well for the most part.
Cool. Barry, you pretty excited about Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to it more so now. Like Hassan said, I like the new abilities. I like the atmosphere. I was watching them on the treehouse. They showed off some of the stuff and some of the little puzzles and how there's some ghosts where you actually don't have to actually capture them. You just have to help them. And like I like that each floor of the hotel is like a completely different themed area. And I'm really interested in seeing how they incorporate all that. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. I look forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, I love how they I think one of the critiques they had about the last one was that they just didn't have too much personality in a lot of the ghosts, and so this time they kind of went all out for that. So it looks really cool. I was a huge fan of the original one, and I really like the arcade version. I played a lot of Dave & Buster's. You actually like get a poltergust and you can like suck up the ghost and everything. It's really fun. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about Luigi's Mansion 3 for sure.
I'm kind of surprised there was no release date. Like it was just 2019. Yeah. So I was a little surprised about that. Then again, we didn't really get any release dates beyond like September, aside from Pokemon, which is done by the Pokemon Company kind of separately, and Animal Crossing only because they had to announce the delay and stuff. So I was kind of a little. So I don't know if it's going to be an October thing or if they're going to push it back to later in the holiday to fill some gaps, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I thought that was particular too. I mean, I would thought they would have had a date for it as well, but
yeah, I wonder if they just need to then they polish it just a little bit more, and they're not really sure if they can confirm an exact date. We kind of speculated on our live reactions that it's probably going to be October-ish. Kind of seems like a good Halloween kind of theme game, but yeah, it seems like anything past September we didn't really get any exact dates. We got a lot of summer dates. We got a lot of September games that's coming in September, but past that we just got year or just later in 2019 or 2020. I think there's only one game that we actually got an exact date in 2020. The rest of them just sometime next year.
Which makes it even odder. I mean, I understand why they did the Animal Crossing date, but that still is kind of weird. Like, well, this one's 2020 in March, but you don't know when Luigi's Mansion is in 2019. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's always a little weird. Well, another game that comes out in sometime 2019 is the Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. There's the Renaissance. Age of Resistance Tactics, and this is kind of in connection with the Netflix series, yeah, I actually had no idea this was going to be coming out. I had forgotten that Netflix is actually doing a Dark Crystal series until like the little Netflix like logo came down at the bottom. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that series, and I really didn't expect a game, but it makes sense to kind of tie in. You're going to encounter never before seen characters, and stories, and environments in the game. Seems to be a tactical strategy game. So it's right up Greg's alley right there. And so, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Greg? Like, what's your thoughts on Dark Crystal game?
I mean, it did look pretty good, but as I was saying in my reaction, it kind of reminded me a lot more of the codename Steam, which I didn't really enjoy as much because I did have that on 3DS. But I don't know. I'll still need more trailers, and maybe I'll even watch the series to see if it's something I really want to dive into.
Right. Barry, what do you think about Dark Crystal?
I loved it as a kid. It all depends on if it's physical or digital. If it's digital, I probably won't touch this. If it's physical, I might give it a shot because I do like turn-based strategy games when I have the time. I do think it's funny that we're getting 2 Netflix games on the Switch, but we don't have Netflix itself because, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. Hassan, what are your thoughts about this one?
I had no idea what the Dark Crystal or anything was. My wife was trying to explain it to me while that was airing. So at first I was like, I'm so confused. What is this? But then she explained it to me, and then I was like, oh, okay. So it's this, So
homework assignments.
And then I got it.
Don't worry, I'm in the same boat as that. So.
Because at first it said Netflix. Was like, are they announcing like a Netflix show for like a Nintendo property? What's happening? And then it turned into that, and I was like, what is going on? Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm probably gonna pass on this one.
Yeah, I probably will too. The original movie is so weird. I've never seen the whole thing all the way through. I've seen a lot of pieces of it, but I've never actually sat down and watched the entire thing. But there's so many. Those Jim Henson shows are so weird. Anyhow, so but yeah, it was actually on not too long ago. I was in like this old school like candy store. And they had it going on because it kind of totally fit the theme of that store, and it was it's a weird one, but yeah, I'm probably gonna skip over this one as well. Well, let's see. They moved on to Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening next. To Barry's demise. Like he was hoping, we know about that game already. Let's skip over it, but nope. We spent a lot of time on Link's Awakening. Coming out September 20th. So we don't have to wait too much longer. But it's they need to add some new stuff into the game, and including a new Link amiibo. So we didn't think amiibo were coming at all. We're like, those done. There's no more amiibo. Actually, there's going to be a new Link amiibo that I think looks really cool. It looks like you pretty much just plucked him right out of the game and just are able to put him right on your desk. So that's pretty cool. They actually have this chambers. It's like dungeon rooms, and you can actually like basically it's kind of like Zelda's Dungeon Maker, essentially, and you can kind of create your own dungeon. And it kind of seems like they're testing out some stuff there. But yeah, I mean, I was glad to see some new stuff from it. If they were going to show it off, I wanted to see some new stuff, and they did some new stuff, and it was pretty cool. Barry, were you okay with them showing it off?
Yeah, I was okay. I think that if they didn't show it off and just save this for the treehouse, it would have been fine. But they did show it off. I saw a lot of people say that they weren't sure before, but now they're sold on it, which I'm really happy to see. The new content, the Dungeon Maker, looks incredible. They said in the treehouse you can share it with friends too, and you can challenge them to beat it with a certain amount of time. They also revealed that the color dungeon is back. So the color dungeon from the DX game is in fact there. So there will be at least the 9 dungeons. I don't know if they're adding any more, but the build your own dungeon area is where the Photoshop was in the DX version. So the whole camera part is taken away. Of course, I doubt this would connect with the Game Boy camera anyway, or the Game Boy printer, I should say. But the
could share it on social media though.
Could share it on. Well, yeah, you could have a screenshot button at this point.
Good point.
What's interesting though about this is the amiibo looks great. That's already up for pre-order at Best Buy. I have it pre-ordered. I like what it does, where that amiibo does like a shadow Link that chases you, and all the other Zelda amiibos do something else. That is awesome. The game itself is also up for pre-order, and they revealed for America we get the Dreamers Edition, which contains an art book. And in typical NOA fashion, they once again absolutely hate our guts because Nintendo of Europe is like, yeah, well, we're doing a limited edition where we get a bigger art book with a nicer cover and a steelbook. And I don't know if you guys have seen the steelbook, but this is the best steelbook ever put out. It's a Game Boy with Link's Awakening in it on the screen and everything, like as a steelbook. That is incredible. So Nintendo of Europe is like, give us your money too. And I'm like, I have no choice because Nintendo of America hates us because they can't just say, you know what, print an extra couple thousand of them anyway and just give it to the people of America. Nope. We even get a crappier art book. I mean, come on. If you're going to make one art book, it costs more to make two than it does to make one. But nope. NOA is like, screw you people. So yeah, I have to get two versions of this game thanks to NOA.
Hassan, what do you think about this one?
I am very excited for this. I do have the amiibo pre-ordered along with all the new Smash amiibo that went up from pre-order. And yeah, it's one of those things that like I haven't played this game before. I'm not as big on the 2D Zeldas compared to the 3D Zeldas, but the art style just looks beautiful and it has completely won me over. So I'm very excited about this game. It looks amazing and I can't wait to play it in September.
Yeah. Greg, I'm assuming you're going to get this one.
This was actually my highest point of the entire Direct. Like, I was like, you can probably quote me on the original announcement of the game. I'm like, oh, sure, that's just like, okay, maybe it'll be pretty good to get. And then now I'm like super sold on it just because of that dungeon builder thing, because it's like a Mario Maker like thing, but for Zelda, and that would be phenomenal to play out and create dungeons and everything and have other people try to play them and try to get their best times and everything. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun, and I'm definitely excited for this. And as with the other two, I've already pre-ordered that amiibo as well. So,
yes. Steve, did you watch any of the Treehouse on this, by the way?
A little bit. I was working on our live reaction, so it was like the Treehouse was always on another screen, but I wasn't able to pay attention to it as much.
They confirmed your biggest fear is gone. The sword and shield are always equipped. The Pegasus boots, the power bracelet will always be equipped, and you do get still 2 items to swap between.
Nice. This may compete for my favorite like top down was A Link Between Worlds, because that was such a great game, and this might compete with it. Link's Awakening might become one of my favorite Zelda games just because of this remake, which would make very happy. Even though the original one, not it's low on the list, but the remake may very well way surpass it for sure. Let's move on to a little bit more RPG kind of stuff, because we found out that Trials of Mana and the Collection of Mana are both coming. The Trials of Mana is a full HD remake of the 3rd entry in the Mana series that was released in Japan as something I can't pronounce. Any of you guys? No?
Second Detsutsen 3.
Oh, okay, that, and then and that's scheduled for early 2020, and then we also get the Collection of Mana, which is the first 3 titles in the Mana series, all in one package, and it comes, I believe, is that eShop only so far? Nope. It is.
August, it is getting a physical. It's on the Square Enix store, Best Buy, and Amazon for pre-order right this moment. Thank God it's getting physical.
Nice, but it's available on digital today.
August for the physical.
All right, cool. So yeah, lots of Mana Trials, Mana Collection of Mana. Hassan, are you excited about all the Mana?
Nope. Keep it short and simple. It's an RPG. I'm not into RPGs.
Hassan, do you like Zelda?
No. Yeah, some Zelda games.
It's Zelda. Like, the Mana series is a spin-off of Final Fantasy. It is Zelda.
But I don't like Final Fantasy.
No, but it doesn't matter. It's not.
Is it like 2D Zeldas or 3D?
Yes,
Zeldas?
It's 2D Zeldas. Action RPG.
He doesn't like.
Most 2D Zeldas I don't like. That's where like Link's Awakening, the art style of that won me over. But like I'm not as big on.
Well, the
on
remake of
ones,
Trials of Mana is actually like a more 3D style Zelda. But my God, like you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to try these out. They're so good.
Homework assignment number 2.
Long list.
We already know Barry hates this whole series, so we can move on straight now. Barry, yeah, like so. I know you're really excited now that there's this retail release of this. So like, will this be something that like you're just excited to have, or would you be really excited to like play through all these games again?
I will probably play through all these again. Like the Mana series is so good, and I think the only one I didn't really play through completely is Heroes of Mana, and I didn't do the remake of Secret of Mana because I heard some negative things and I just didn't have the time, unfortunately. But yeah, Final Fantasy Adventure, or later on it was Sword of Mana. Both great games. Secret of Mana is a classic, is absolutely classic that needs to be played. And now what they're calling Trials of Mana, I actually played through already back in the early days of emulation where there was an English patch and I was able to actually play it when we all thought it was going to be called Secret of Mana 2 coming over here. It is a really cool game because you get the 6 different protagonists and you only get 3 of them per playthrough. So you get to pick which ones you want. So every playthrough can be a different combination. I don't know if they're changing that in the remake and you can have all 6 or not, but they're awesome. If you like Zelda, if you enjoy Zelda, if you enjoy light RPG elements like leveling up, it is great. Like Secret of Mana, like each weapon that you have actually levels up. So like you could use the sword the whole game and you get new abilities as you level up with it, or you could switch to a spear, or you could switch to daggers. There's a ton of different weapons. There's also different summons, and each of the summons can level up, and it's like everything uses rotating wheels, and it's just such a good game. And it's 3 players. So if you have friends, you could all play at the same time. So picture a multiplayer Zelda without multiplayer Zelda like puzzles, like not 4 Swords, not Triforce Heroes, but more like playing A Link to the Past with 2 other friends and all going through the adventure. Like it is so good and so underrated, and it needs to be played.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I remember I think one of my interesting memories of a Mana series was actually with Final Fantasy Adventure, and I remember getting it on Game Boy, and I traded a Game Boy cartridge. I remember on the bus when I was young, and so someone gave me a game. I can't remember what game I traded off, but I got this game, and it had, I might not even traded a game off. It might have been something else, like little kids on the school bus. And I got this Game Boy game and I really didn't know what it was. And someone told me it was Final Fantasy. I was like, all right, cool. And everything. So I played this game. I had no idea that it was actually it was a Mana series like game until I just thought I'd been playing Final Fantasy for a long time. And then years later, I got into the Final Fantasy series and played a couple of those games, and it's similar, but it's a different type of game. And I was like, I don't know if I like the old Final Fantasy because I was technically playing a Mana series game, and I didn't really realize it at the time because the naming convention and everything.
Well, that's because the first one originally was called Final Fantasy Gaiden, and second Tetsuin, whatever, it's the subtitle. And when they brought it to America, they figured they wouldn't use the Japanese title, or even Mana wasn't even part of the title. So they called it Final Fantasy Adventure because they thought that would sell better because Americans knew what Final Fantasy was, much like the 3 Game Boy Saga games that are part of the Square Enix Saga series came over here as Final Fantasy Legend, because again, they're not really part of the Final Fantasy series. They were like, this will help sell it. So you're not wrong. In fact, you even said you enjoyed it, which is cool because it's like Zelda. It's an adventure game. It is a Final Fantasy spin-off because there are some elements, much like Chrono Trigger is kind of like a Final Fantasy spin-off in a sense. But yeah, that's the reason for the naming convention. And Mana didn't come out until the second game. And then they started retroactively, like the third game now is Trials of Mana. They remade the first game, Final Fantasy Adventure, on the GBA as Sword of Mana. So now the Mana has stuck.
Yeah. Greg, you excited about the Mana series games?
I'm excited to try them. I've actually never played them. I only have one memory of Secret of Mana, and that's my brother shattering the Super Nintendo controller on our table in the middle of playing that. I don't know what he was doing, but there was this difficult boss or something that he couldn't beat, and then he just and then just seeing like all the colored buttons just flying everywhere.
That's crazy.
So you're gonna give these a try then, Greg? You like Zelda?
Yeah, I was planning on it. It sounds like it's gotten everything that I like in the games. I do like the older Final Fantasy games. I do like Legend of Zelda, so it seems like it'd be right up my alley.
Nice. Just don't shatter your Switch because then you like playing on the go. So that's a whole Switch going down.
I know.
Learn from your brother's mistake. All right. So then they moved on to The Witcher 3. This kind of apparently was hinted at. I did my best to avoid all rumors and leaks and all that stuff this year. So I had not heard about this coming, but apparently a lot of other people knew this was on its way. But The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition is coming later this year. Or this year. I'm assuming it's later this year from how they said it. Yeah, I have never played any of the Witcher games, so I have so little to contribute to this. Hassan, have you ever played The Witcher? Are you excited about this one?
Nope. That's going to be my contribution, it seems, every time I'm asked. Just nope.
All right, well, moving on to Greg. Greg, you're a Witcher fan?
I've never played the Witcher games because they've not been on Nintendo consoles, so I can't say that I'm a fan, but I might be willing to give it a shot if come to. Like, I do like open world games, so it might be something I could get into, but based on how much other games I'm interested in, it probably will be a pass.
Yeah, it does seem cool, especially because it comes with the two huge story expansions with its complete edition. So it's got so much game there. But yeah, I have no experience with it at all. Just like you guys, Barry. Maybe you've played The Witcher. Maybe
I own Witcher 2 on the Xbox 360, and I planned to play it, and I never did. So, and I got like the big collector's edition, like super hard to get. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get it. Never played it. So then I'm like, I'm not gonna open it. I'm gonna get another copy. I got the next second copy, like with all the DLC and stuff for Witcher 2. Never played it. Then Witcher 3 came out, and I got that big collector's edition with the giant statue of Geralt on a griffin that looks badass and still sitting in the box. And I never played it. And then the first expansion came out with a deck of cards, and I got that, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give this a shot now. It says physical card. Never played it. So now maybe I'll play it. One good thing I will say about this, and this I'm very happy about, CD Projekt Red has earned my respect. They are only the second company to put out a physical Switch game on a 32 gig card. There is no download on this. So they didn't cheap out. They put the biggest card available, at least I think the biggest card available, or at least one of the bigger cards to fit the entire game and all the DLC. Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 was the only other one that never left Japan, which is shocking with all this Dragon Quest stuff. You would think they would port over those by now. They're already on the Switch in Japan. But yeah, I'll be getting this whether or not I play it. It depends on all the other titles coming out in time, because I've heard it's like 100+ hour game. I've heard it's awesome. I've heard it's a lot of fun. And I really do enjoy Western RPGs like Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate, and stuff like that. And this is apparently along those same lines. So I might play it, but I'll definitely be getting it to join the other Witcher 3 stuff I have into.
Right. So you just have a whole Witcher collection that you've never played. But yeah, of course. Oh man, there was this next game. I don't think Greg really likes it at all, so we can just go ahead and skip right past it. But it does come out to July 26th. A little game called Fire Emblem Three Houses. I don't know. And Greg, like you don't even like care about this game, right? Yeah.
Oh, of course not. No, just kidding. No, this has already been pre-ordered and paid for, and I can't wait for it to arrive. So it was nice to get a little bit more of that story introduction piece. I've commented on a previous podcast, and you guys are like, no, they don't need to show any more Fire Emblem. We don't need any more of that. And then I put in my predictions, and then of course nailed it right on the head. Boom, like check.
Yeah, much to Barry's dislike. We got more Fire Emblem.
I realize why, and it's not the way you say it sounds like I hate Fire Emblem. It's not just like because I don't like Fire Emblem. It's because from a good marketing standpoint, you want those 40 minutes when it was announced 40 minutes of E3 to be a surprise. Surprise. You want to get hit with surprise, and you want to get hit with stuff you haven't seen before for games that may have just been teased. Like Luigi's Mansion 3 was just teased, so showing us more is good. But then after the Direct, I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I realized there was only one brand new Nintendo game announced, and very few actual new games announced. Like Trials of Mana was one of the very few. Everything else in this Direct, as awesome as it is, was all stuff we already knew about. So I realized this was just padding because they didn't have really a lot of new stuff to show. They already did show that. So this was just padding to say, we got 40 minutes instead of we got 25. So it made sense why they did it. I still think it looks good. I mean, I already have it pre-ordered. I got the collector's edition pre-ordered. This is actually one of those collector's editions that we are getting a steelbook here, which shocking. I don't know why this one over the others, but yeah. I mean, it looks great. It looks like a lot of fun. What else to say? It's Fire Emblem.
I did want to point out it skipped E3 last year, so it's not like they've had like a Direct to focus on Fire Emblem.
No, but it was just at just a recent Direct. They had like what felt like 10 minutes on it.
I know, but that's because it was like really the first time it was really being shown off, because it wasn't at E3 last year. So
yeah.
So podcast listeners already know I have never been a huge fan of Fire Emblem, not because of the game itself, because it's the style of the game. I'm just not a fan of that kind of that type of a game. I'd rather like jump into action and everything. The whole like movement on a grid thing and all that stuff is just not my style of game. I get bored by it a little bit. But Hassan, you're a big fan of Fire Emblem, aren't you? Yeah, I totally are. Like I'm the odd man out here, right?
All right, you ready for this? Nope.
At least we're split even on that. I knew it. I knew Hassan had my back. Not a big Fire Emblem fan as well.
It's one of those things that, like, I mean, honestly, like, I think some of the characters or certain things about the franchise always seemed kind of cool, but the style of game, the RPG nature, like all that stuff just never really appealed to me. And especially and I hate to say it, Greg, you're going to hate me for it, but all the recent, like, stuff, especially in the Direct, like the sort of story stuff, just did not interest me at all, and I was like, I can't do it. But it's one of those franchises I always keep an eye on, and maybe one day I'll jump in on a game or something. But for now, I'm gonna have to continue to pass.
Hassan saw that story trailer and was like, "Damn it, I want to be in Gryffindor. If I can't be, then no, I do not want to play this game."
Too bad you can't just like try this game right here.
I feel the same way about, like, because I think the other Fire Emblem games, I've always paid attention to them, and I thought that their stories and everything seemed really cool, especially the last one with the I think it was 3 different games, or was it one before that?
3 different games.
Fate.
Yeah.
Well, Echoes was the one before that, but Fate.
Those seem really cool in the story and everything, but the Three Houses story is not getting me excited. I can't really get behind it. I don't really it doesn't seem like this is like some epic journey thing, like about like all this stuff. It's just like, oh yeah, there's like 3 different people in this school, and they're like, they get along, but they're just kind of helping each other out and battling each other. And it's like, I don't know. It doesn't really grab me like the past games have.
Because I agree. And I think maybe it's also a lot of my exposure to Fire Emblem is from Smash Brothers. So I just know these cool swordsmen and everything. And I'm like, all right, there's all this epicness and all that. And then I see a storyline that's like straight out of like an anime about like school kids or something. Like at least that's the vibe that I get. So it seems a little different. So if there was a Fire Emblem game that I would jump into, it would probably be like one of the 3DS ones or something.
Yeah, do Awakening.
Versus
Awakening
this.
is very good.
Yeah, Awakening is awesome.
And you know Chrom and Lucina and Robin already from Smash, so that would be a good place for you to go.
Yeah. Well, we moved on to this next announcement. We just really, at least it caught us off guard. Hassan, I don't know if it caught you guys you off guard when you were watching it, but you could just see in our live reactions, like we really didn't know what was going on in this moment. So a couple teenagers go off to this weird place, and that they end up they sit down and they pop out the 3DS
3DS.
Or the 3DS, the 3DS. You didn't catch that? No, it was the Switch, the kickstand, and they pop it down and they start to play Resident Evil on their Switch, a game that we already know exists, and they're playing in an abandoned house on the tabletop mode. Definitely not what I would recommend playing Resident Evil on tabletop mode in an abandoned house. But eventually, after I feel like wasting a bunch of our time, they eventually told us that 2 more Resident Evil games are coming to Switch. Resident Evil 5 is going to be launching this fall, as well as Resident Evil 6. So Resident Evil 5 and 6 joins the rest of the collection that has started coming over to Switch and coming this fall. Hassan, are you a big Resident Evil fan? Are you excited about these?
I would say to the first question, if I'm a fan, kind of some of the games I've played. This is one of those weird ones. Like I was watching my wife, and we were kind of like laughing. Like, they're talking about new ways to play the Switch? Are they promoting kids to go out into the woods and find haunted places and like play video games? Like, is that really what you want to promote? I don't know. But it was a really weird way of it just dragged on for they're bringing over old games onto the Switch. Like, lead with that, do something different. I don't know. It was a weird way of announcing it. I think it's probably a decent announcement for people that are fans of the series or these games, but it was just a weird way to do it. So I'm not particularly interested in these games in particular. If there was a game that I would get, it might be Resident Evil 4. I actually haven't played, and I was trying to think. I don't think I've really played a mainline Resident Evil game. I've played Umbrella Chronicles, Revelations, played some of those side ones, but I don't think I played a mainline one. And obviously everyone talks about Resident Evil 4. Mm-hmm. So that might be the one if I were to get into it to play. But yeah.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think about these Resident Evil games coming over and maybe about the way they announced them?
Yeah, that was definitely very interesting the way they did that. If you watch our reactions, I was kind of commenting. It was kind of reminding me of the Uninvited game from the NES, because it's set up the same way. It's the car breaks down in front of this haunted house, and the people go inside, and that turns a little bit more extreme with the girl going missing and everything, and then you have to find her. But obviously none of that happened. So yeah, that was a very weird way to show Switch games. You wouldn't look around for a TV or something with a Switch dock already there and put it right in there. So
well, they had no power.
Right. So they only had to play for 2 hours anyhow.
Yeah, but I've never really been huge into Resident Evil, so probably it's an easy pass for me. And it did feel like it was dragging on, and I take Barry's line that was just more extra padding just to have that weird introduction to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I've off and on. I haven't played all the Resident Evil games, but the ones I played, I enjoy. They did get better as they went along. I was not a huge fan of the original games because I didn't get it, because I was coming from a mindset of run and gun, and that's not what you do in those games. You have to conserve your ammo and make sure you hide and get away and stuff like that, which really threw me off when I started playing Resident Evil, because I was like, how do I even get past this first guy? Because I'm keep dying, I run out of ammo. So it's a cool mindset shift, I guess, to when I play those games. But I've not played 5 or 6. It's cool that they're coming over Switch. Maybe I'll give them a shot. But yeah, I'm kind of hot and cold with Resident Evil. Barry, you a big fan?
I enjoyed the original Resident Evils. I definitely looked at this trailer as more padding. This just further proves my point about the padding. This could have been anything. The fact that they were playing RE1, if they were playing RE5 or something, okay, cool, I see what you're doing. But no. It's nice that 5 and 6 are coming. I'm sure it's Capcom, so they're going to be digital only, or they'll give you a physical case with a digital code, because Capcom is cheap and terrible, and I hate them right now. It's odd that they didn't do 2, 3, and Code Veronica. I know Code Veronica X did get an HD re-release, HD in quotes, because it really wasn't that much HD. That could come over. It would be nice if we got the RE2 remake that just happened. That would be nice. The very least, the original RE2 and 3. I mean, they were on the GameCube, so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to be on a Nintendo system.
Yeah. Well, next we found out, kind of caught us off guard. We kind of caught the art style a little bit. It was like, oh, this looks familiar. It looks familiar. And all of a sudden we found out that Grasshopper Manufacturer is bringing No More Heroes 3 to the Switch in 2020. So Travis Touchdowns coming back to Stand and Destroy after a 10-year absence. And so Travis Touchdowns back. Next in the No More series, No More Heroes series. I know that he had the other kind of the side thing that was that for 3DS? Is that right?
No, it was Switch. Travis Strikes Again.
Travis Strikes Again, but I know that wasn't received as well as the other mainline games. So No More Heroes 3, 2020. Greg, are you No More Heroes fan? Did this excite you?
No, I've never really even heard of No More Heroes, surprisingly, but
wow. All right.
Wow.
That is surprising. So
yeah. Wow.
So it was surprising to me because I've never even heard of this game.
For someone who claims to have Nintendo systems, man, when the first one came out, there was like nothing else to play on the Wii.
It's true. It's true. You never heard about like going to the bathroom to save the game or anything like that?
or powering up the beam saber.
Trying to keep this PG. No. Hassan, you a No More Heroes fan?
I actually did play some of the first game on Wii, so I actually am kind of interested in learning more about No More Heroes 3, so I potentially might look into it. Yeah.
Cool. Barry, you excited about this one?
I am. I knew about it though because I actually did Travis Strikes Again, and there is a teaser for it at the very end when you completely beat the game. I do hope, because they did say 2020, I do hope they, maybe even this holiday, they do put a 2-pack and re-release 1 and 2. I think that'd be really nice to have the whole collection on the Switch. Even though Travis Strikes Again didn't set the world on fire, it was a very different style game. And I think if they brought over 1 and 2, it would be really, really nice.
Yeah, it'd probably be digital only, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. Travis Strikes Again got physical, so.
It's true. That's true. It was a little surprising, actually. I didn't expect Travis Strikes Again to get a retail copy. So, next thing we were moving on to, we had a little Contra. Wait, did I just say Contra? Yeah, I said Contra. There, we had some Contra announcements. So we got a new game coming, a new Contra game coming called Rogue Core. That's one of those words that sometimes is pronounced corpse and sometimes is pronounced core, and I never really know which one it is. So we're gonna call it Road Corpse, and it's an over-the-top run and gun game that I don't know if it's going to be as challenging as the original Contra, but it's offers single multiplayer options, and we're going to be able to get it on September 24th, so not that far away. And along the Contra lines, we have the Contra Collection, 10 Contra games, and it is available now on the eShop. So, Hassan, you a big Contra fan? Were you excited about this?
Nope.
All right, well, moving on.
Yeah, I don't know. It was never one that really struck with me, and those games I believe are pretty difficult from what I've heard, and that's also not really something that interests me. But also, this new game looked bad graphically. It just, my wife was like, "Is this like an old game that they're like porting onto the system or something?" Like it didn't look visually that great either. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna pass on this.
So you've never used the Konami code then? So no. Okay. But I do agree. Like I didn't think this one looked good. I think it's cool that the Contra Collection's coming. But I wasn't overly impressed by Rogue Corpse as well. Greg, what do you think about all this Contra news today?
Well, as I already mentioned, I already purchased the collection, so definitely was interested to see the older games coming back. I know they've been missing from the NES Online, especially Contra and Super C. But in terms of the new one, I don't know if I'm still super completely sold on it. I might wait to see a little bit more about it as details come out before I drop in and get it. But I probably will end up getting it just because I love the original Contra games, but I don't know. Still on the fence about it.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I was a big fan of Contra Super C, Contra 3. I don't think I played anyone. That's like the three that I've played the most. But yeah, I'm not sold on this one. Barry, what do you think about this new one?
The new one looks okay. It actually reminds me a lot of the PS1 Saturn game. I think it was Legacy of War. Like I kind of got vibes of that, and that wasn't really a great Contra game. But I'm willing to give it a chance because you know what, Konami seems to somehow be moving away from the pachinko machines. Maybe. I mean, they brought Bomberman back at launch. Now they're bringing Contra back. I'm liking this. So I'll definitely be getting it. As for the collection, I'll be getting it physically because this collection is actually coming physically, which is awesome to see. And I like the lineup of games. I wish there were two other ones. I wish the Rebirth, Contra Rebirth was on here, and I wish Hardcore was on here, which was an XBLA exclusive. That being said, I'm really stoked about it. And I do hope this is a sign that the Castlevania and the Konami Classics collections will get physicals as well. Please don't let me down, Konami. But heck, I mean, come on. This is a direct Contra in 2019. I don't even know if this is a Switch exclusive. I know the collection isn't, but I don't know if the new Contra game is actually exclusive or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything on that.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I know a lot of people that are really excited that love the Rebirth series, so that'd be cool to bring those over as well. How much does the collection cost?
Physically, it is. I've seen it up at PlayAsia, so I'm waiting for like a Best Buy link. But it is. Where are you? I know I have you here somewhere.
Greg.
Oh, there it is. It is $60.
60. Okay, so it's a little bit over $5 a game, so that's not too shabby.
Yeah, for the games you're getting though, those are classic games.
It's pretty cool. All right, well, moving on to keeping this thing moving. Where we got several announcements left, but we found out a little more about Demon X Machina. It's coming out September 13th, so not a long time to wait for this game. And I don't recall them really showing off a whole lot of new stuff. I maybe
they did in the Treehouse.
They did in the Treehouse, but in the Direct itself, it didn't really seem like there was a whole lot of new stuff there. And I didn't get a chance to really watch a lot of it in the Treehouse because of other things that I was doing, editing and everything, our live reactions. But yeah, I'm still excited about this game. It's cool. We don't have to wait that long for it. Barry, what do you think about Daemon X Machina, and especially maybe some of the stuff that he covered in the Treehouse?
I love it. I did the prototype missions. We did a game chat on that. It is a lot of fun. It's very, very fast, action packed, and I like the fact that you can like take out enemies and then steal parts from them, and then after the mission you go back and you can upgrade your parts that way. And the parts are not like guaranteed. Like in the prototype, like it was one enemy in particular that could drop a sword, and it took me a couple of times to farm it, and I got the sword, and I was able to find like a 2 and be able to walk around with 2 swords. It was kind of cool, and I like that replayability because it's chunked into little missions, so you can kind of be like, oh, where do I farm this? All right, and try to build whatever build you want. There's definitely, like in the prototype, there were some pieces that were very agile with very little defense, and like when I went up against the big boss at the end of the final mission, and that like it killed me. Like I just couldn't survive it. So I switched to like the highest armor set that I found, which made me incredibly slow, but I was like a tank and I was able to beat it that way. On the Treehouse, they showed that they fixed probably my biggest complaint about it, which is the boss battles especially take place in an arena, and the arena has like a yellow invisible wall around it, and when you get close to it you kind of see it looks like a grid, and if you fly out of it, it's like flying out of bounds in Star Fox, and it like automatically turns you around to go back in, and it's kind of disorienting, and it's really hard because sometimes the bosses will sit on that yellow line and you're trying to hit a weak point that happens to be outside the yellow line, and you try to go through it, and it kept like knocking me back. No, I just want to hit that one piece. I couldn't figure out how to move the boss. Now they made it so like when you go out, you have like a timer, and you still have free roam to look around and do whatever you want. And when the timer hits 0, you fail. So this time you have like 10 seconds to go out there, do some hits, and then get back in a situation like that, and you don't get that disorienting. They said the feedback was very good from the prototype, and that I understand why they delisted the prototype now, because it's coming out so soon, which surprised me. And I think from what I saw, like this was shown last year at E3. This was actually the first game. This was our biggest surprise right at the start. And a lot of people were like, what is this? I'm not really sure about this. And I saw a lot of people commenting now, like after watching that trailer, even without playing the prototype, like, I'm sold. This looks incredible. This looks better than a Switch should be able to even produce, because the graphics look awesome. And yeah, I'm super stoked for this.
Cool. Yeah. Hassan, what do you think about this Daemon X Machina?
I don't know. I played the prototype mission, and I don't know what it was about it, but I kind of had mixed feelings. Like it felt a little slightly clunky, or I was trying to figure out what it was that kind of threw me off a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. I think the controls felt slightly clunky a little bit, and then it also was a little hard sometimes to tell if I was doing damage or not to the enemies, and it just seemed a little off. So I don't know how much of that or not is going to be changed for the final release. So I think I'm kind of still on the fence about this one. I have to watch the Treehouse segment and see what it looks like now. But yeah, I'm not sure. But it does release, pretty soon. So either way, I'm sure we'll have plenty of gameplay and impressions and stuff soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it as well. I still need to play the prototype missions. I have downloaded it, and it's one of those that I keep forgetting that's on there. So every time I see it, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta play it, and I forget. Greg, what are you thinking about Daemon X Machina?
I'll have to refer to Hassan Chuck next.
Nope. Sorry, that's not an answer to my question. No. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think it definitely is looking to be an interesting game for sure. I think the whole mech thing, and like you're saying, just to be able to swap out stuff and grab it from your enemies and stuff does seem really, really interesting. But yeah, September 13th, so not too long from now. Another game that it's kind of got announced that I caught Barry off guard a little bit was Panzer Dragoon getting a remake, remade version of the original Panzer Dragoon, coming with new graphics and updated controls and all this stuff. Tell us a little about your thoughts about Panzer Dragoon there, Barry.
I am beyond overexcited for this. I do remember a while back that I heard that Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2 were being remade, but it's been so long, and to see it in action, it almost brought tears to my eyes, because Panzer Dragoon was one of those games back in the day when you would go to Toys R Us, God rest their soul, now gone. They had those kiosks, and they had the Saturn there, and that was what was playing on the kiosk. So I was playing it. I'm like, this is so cool. And I was a big Star Fox fan, so I was like, okay, this is like the next evolution of Star Fox. This is cool. And I never owned a Saturn as a kid. I had the N64, so I never really got to play Panzer Dragoon for a long time until I finally got a Saturn and I got to play through it. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. And I got the second, and I played through that. And by the time I finally got Saga, I didn't have the time, unfortunately, but I did get Orta when I got an Xbox, and I played that, and I absolutely love Panzer Dragoon. And to see this coming on the Switch, I think this is a must, especially with Nintendo not delivering a Star Fox game. We have Starlink, but this is one of those that if you like Star Fox, like classic Star Fox, you will like this, because one thing they do is, unlike Star Fox, which is usually straight ahead, is sometimes enemies will go around you, and what you can do, because you're riding the dragon, is you can actually turn the camera 90 degrees. So if someone pulls up on your right, you could turn the camera and start firing to your side. And if they go behind you, you could actually turn behind you and fire the whole time you're moving forward on a rail. So it's really cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never played any of the games, but it did look really cool, and so and I'm a huge fan of Star Fox as well, and so yeah, if they could bring any of the camera stuff, except for not the bad camera stuff of Star Fox Zero, but if they kind of do that, but do it better, that sounds pretty cool. Definitely interesting. Hassan, what do you think about Panzer Dragoon?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to learn more about it. I had not been familiar with the series. I've heard the name before, but I had no idea what it was. The second I saw it, I was like, it kind of looked like the creatures from the Avatar movie. I was like, are we on Pandora? Like those flying things from the side. I was like, what is this? Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see more about it.
Cool. Greg, what do you think?
I don't really remember a whole lot, at least from the trailer of it. So I don't know. Obviously, it didn't really stick with me to be super interesting. So I don't know.
Fly in the back of a dragon and shoot guns at things. How is that not interesting?
Well, never really been into the gun games, I guess. If it was a couple swords, it'd be like Fire Emblem, and that'd be really cool.
You didn't like Star Fox?
What if you had swords on top of a dragon and slicing things as you're there?
Have you seen Game of Thrones? They use swords and.
That's called Drakengard. Different. That's square.
No, but usually, like a lot of the gun games, I haven't really been into a whole lot. So I think that's also why I didn't really like Codename Steam and stuff like that. So I know that's a completely different game, but I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I'll have to rewatch the trailer to reevaluate because I don't really even remember this title.
It's a little more old school, going with the swords instead of the guns. Makes sense.
Well, then you should like the next game, right, Greg?
That's true. There you go. Because there's maybe a sword kind of in this. At least we think we found out. So again, another game that both Barry and I both expressed how we were hoping that this is not really shown off in the Direct. And we really didn't get a whole lot, but we got a recap of what they just announced. So yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield was shown off. The game comes out on November 15th, or the games come out on November 15th. Let's jump back to we had a Pokemon Direct. What was that? June 5th, I think. So last week, about a week ago, we had this Direct, and we found out that the Galar region, it's a really pretty game. In my opinion, I think it's shaping up pretty good. I think they've continued to improve the 3D graphics and everything, and you can control the camera with their stick and kind of look around in the world, which is really cool. They showed off some new Pokemon like Wooloo and Gossifleur and Dreadnought and Corviknight. They saw this Dynamax thing, which you get to make your Pokemon gigantic during a battle. And you can also participate in max raid battles in this wild area with other Pokemon players. You get to capture these Dynamaxed versions of Pokemons, these gigantic Pokemon with 3 of your local or online friends, which is pretty cool. And we also found out that the Galar champion is a guy named by the name of Leon, and his younger brother Hop is one of your rivals. And so you have the Professor Magnolia is their professor there, specializes in the Dynamax. His granddaughter Sonia is her assistant. And so, yeah, kind of showed off the legendaries. Seems to be these like lion-like Pokemon called Zacian and Zamazenta. I think I'm pronouncing those correctly. And there's going to be a twin pack November 15th, or you can buy them separately. And we also found out today that you can use the Pokeball Plus to kind of carry around your Pokemon from the game. They kind of said it may not be able to be used as a controller. I think basically they're saying it's not going to be able to use a controller, but just the way he said it was kind of weird. But yeah, so like unlike Let's Go, you could use it as a controller. You can't use it as a controller in Sword and Shield. But yeah, so kind of jump back to last week a little bit to the Pokemon Direct, but also a little bit what we learned today. Hassan, you pretty excited about Pokemon Sword and Shield? I know you're a big Pokemon fan.
Yeah, I am excited about it. And I know it's an RPG, so it's like, what? I thought you hated RPGs. It's one of those ones that like I have not finished a Pokemon game since like Pokemon Ruby on the GBA or something, because as soon as the RPG stuff, like all the grinding, all that stuff comes into play, that's when I end up just getting bored of it and stopping. But that's where I liked Let's Go, because what I did play of it, like the things like the random wild battles and stuff, like having Pokemon walk around in the overworld, I thought was great, and it made it more interesting and appealing. It made the game come alive even more. So as soon as I saw that they announced that, at least in the wild area, which seems pretty large, that you'll have Pokemon roaming around and stuff, my hype level for Sword and Shield instantly went up. Like I went from, okay, cool, a new Pokemon game, to yes, I'm ready for this game. Like it definitely does look pretty cool. The new designs for the Pokemon are also pretty sweet that they showed. So far those have been pretty good. The Dynamax feature is interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it just yet. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because you have things like Mega Evolutions and Z moves, which are only for certain Pokemon. Whereas in this case, it seems like, you can pretty much do it for any Pokemon, which doesn't make it as cool or not. Now, granted, I'm not going to dive into details here because I know some people don't want spoilers, but there were some leaks that I am 100% convinced are accurate, because they had down to the names of these Pokemon, descriptions, some of the gym leaders, everything that came out before the Direct, and then also some things that they revealed at E3 that 100% match what was in this leak. So I'm very confident in this leak, and the stuff that is in the leak makes some of these things even more exciting, like the Dynamax stuff. So I'm very excited about some of these features. So definitely looking forward to finding out more about this. Cool. I don't know how much you want me to get into or not. I'm refraining for now because I know the spoilers, but I don't want to. People care.
We can keep it for now, and then it's probably inevitable. They'll come out with some more information if Nintendo finds out that it is pretty widespread and everything. Who knows? Maybe the next podcast they've all revealed it, and now we can actually talk about it. But for the sake of the people that want to keep those hush hush for now, we'll just say it. But that's cool to hear, like, that what has been leaked does make you more excited for the game. That's cool to hear.
Absolutely. There's definitely some cool stuff there. I mean, what they showed already, I think, is still pretty promising. The whole Galar region looks pretty great. So, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I don't know which version I'm going to get just yet, but either way, whatever I get, between my wife and I, we'll get both versions. So,
yeah. Nice. Barry, are you very excited about Sword and Shield? Like, even though they spent a little time on it, was that okay with you, or you kind of just
the
like,
time they spent on during the actual Direct was again padding. I mean, they definitely could have made that a little quicker. I understood not everybody watched the Pokemon Direct, but I think Pokemon's one of those series that even if someone goes in blind, they know what Pokemon is at this point. It's like, oh, a new Pokemon game, sure, I'm gonna go buy it because they sell. What they showed in the Pokemon Direct was fantastic. I'm super excited for it. I absolutely love it. My only complaint is not with Game Freak. It's with Nintendo of America again, because Nintendo of America was like, hey, guess what? We've got this great dual pack. You get both games. You get this nice little slipcase. That's really cool. Nintendo of Europe is like, hey, we're going to throw in a steelbook that looks badass. And again, why Nintendo of America? Why? Why would Europe get it and not us? It doesn't cost any more to print it. It's not like it's a special design for Europe only. Give it to us. So again, I had to buy 2 versions of this game because I had to get a steelbook, and it's ridiculous at this point. It's like, come on, NOA. But I don't know which one I'm going to play. Probably Shield. I like the new legendaries. But we were getting both versions anyways, one for my wife and one for me. Even if I wasn't going for a full set, at that point, you might as well get one of each. This way you can trade.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna end up with Shield or with Sword. Sorry, the Sword, because in my opinion, like, swords are cool. Like, Greg agrees with me, and so you can use a sword for a defense and an offensive weapon. So, and like Shield you can as well. I mean, Captain America is pretty awesome. He uses that for offense. But yeah, swords are cooler. So I'm probably gonna go with Sword only because I think they're cooler. That's about it. I have Yeah, sometimes I base it on different stuff, which one I get, but yeah, yeah, that's about it. Greg, all right. So is this the game that's going to get you into Pokemon? Is it going to happen?
It quite possibly might, because the only other one that has really tempted me was that Nobunaga's Pokemon one that didn't really come over very well. So over here, I don't think. But yeah, this one might be the one that I give the series a shot. I do think that the Shield legendary one looks cooler than the Sword one, but the Sword one sounds cooler and probably looks cooler, but the legendary doesn't look quite as what I would think, but oh well.
Cool. Before we move on, let's go into the chat. So the Wolf Bunny is joining us, and he's talking about video on demand apps. Yeah, it's kind of we've talked about this, I think, a couple times on previous podcasts about how it's so weird that Netflix is not on there. He wishes it was on there. Yeah, I think we all agree with that. It's odd, but Netflix does have a panel tomorrow during E3. So who knows? Like they've already got 2 games that are coming to Switch based on shows are on there. So who knows? Maybe that's actually maybe they're actually going to announce that finally for Switch. But we got YouTube, we got Hulu. Why not? Why not Netflix? And Disney Plus is eventually going to come. So that is a little weird. Let's move on to the next thing they talked about was Astral Chain. I know a couple of you guys are really excited about Astral Chain. We get to see a lot more about it, and especially in the treehouse later on. You're a rookie officer in the elite police task force, and you're basically coming together with the Legion to save humankind. So, no light task, but you're going to be saving humankind on August 30th. Astral Chain is going to be here before we know it, August 30th. So Hassan, let's go to you first. What do you think about Astral Chain?
Yeah, for once, I am excited about something. It looks pretty cool. Just like what Platinum Games has done before. I enjoy sort of their kind of action style, and definitely looks pretty unique and pretty fun. So so far, I think I'm on board. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Greg, what do you think about this game?
Just have to do before pass.
Oh.
Greg and I are basically just flipping, essentially. So we're just playing the opposite game.
Anything Greg is excited about, Hassan's in?
I'm like, I can't do it. Greg likes it. Nope. Sorry.
I guess no more Pokemon for you, right?
Oh, that's true.
Well, you can get Sword or whatever, and I'll get Shield. So,
there you go.
Fits.
Done. Well, I know Barry's pretty excited about Astral Chain.
Yeah, and the stuff they showed at the treehouse was crazy cool. Like the fact that, like from the first trailer, it was like, oh, this is this action game. It's from Platinum. That's what we expect. But then, like they show like the detective work. You have to like piece things together and find clues and figure out what's going on. And I'm like, that's really interesting. Like it's almost like LA Noire with like avatars and guns and stuff like that. Well, there's guns in LA Noire, but like futuristic guns and stuff. Yeah, I think this looks great. I love Platinum's work. To me, the biggest surprise is the fact that it's coming in August. Like this was just announced. Like, okay, like this is going to be a little whiles off. Maybe December to August. Wait, what? This is coming up before Daemon X Machina, which was revealed last E3. Like this is crazy.
Yeah,
I thought the August date was known already. We just didn't have a specific date. I thought last time they said August when they announced it.
The last E3 they said August, but I think was it when it was revealed? Was it revealed August? I thought it just said 2019.
Yeah,
because I have this image in my mind of like being like, oh, that game is new and it's also coming sooner than we thought. But maybe I'm mixing it up with something else.
Maybe. Correct us.
Chat, let us know.
Go. Yeah, Ryan says that this game looks really cool to him. Jakester said it looks really cool, but he's not getting it. I know why Greg said no, because it has guns, but yeah, it does. It does look really cool. I'm excited more and more about it. The only problem is I'm gonna turn into Barry around the the July, August, September time, because there's going to be way too many games and not nearly enough time. And so I love that this game is only August 30th. That's not too far away, but oh my gosh, there's several other games coming out around that same time, and like there's not going to be enough time to play them all. But I'm definitely excited about this one as well.
So it wasn't more about just the guns in this particular one. I'm not really fiend on like the combos and all those combo building stuff. Like that's also why I didn't really enjoy the Wonderful 101 as much as I thought I did. Like my hype level for that one was like super high. I really thought I'd really love it, but then when I played it, I didn't quite like it as much. So it might just be the platinum game style play for at least this specific one.
Yeah. Matt was in the chat, and unfortunately he says he can't stay any longer, but thanks for joining us, Matt, for a little bit. I know this is a lot longer podcast than normal. There's so much to talk about for today. We'll keep it moving on, though, to another game that a lot of us off guard, was Empire of Sin, from Paradox and Romero Games. It's like this 1920s Prohibition era Chicago. And it's like a mobster kind of roaring 20s kind of game, and it's scheduled to launch in spring 2020. Greg, what do you think about this one? Have you looked into it any more? Are you excited about the possibility there?
Yeah, that part of it does seem pretty interesting, but if I remember, I think it was just not a lot of gameplay for this title, I don't think. I think it was just a lot of the cinematic action shots of like just showing like the casinos and stuff like that. So I probably just need a little bit more information and maybe some more gameplay footage before I can make a call on it.
Yeah, they didn't show off a whole lot of gameplay, but it's like this noir sort of inspired game. It seemed interesting, I think, to me. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I need to see more. But we got time because it's spring 2020, so I don't have to make a decision today for sure. Hassan, what do you think about Empire of Sin?
Kind of the same thing where like there really wasn't much shown. The brief little shots we got of sort of that top-down look, like, was kind of interesting. It's definitely a interesting style, but we really just don't have much details on it, so need to see more information.
Yeah. Barry, what do you think?
This one is weird. Like, I wasn't sure exactly what I was looking at. I don't know if it's like you build the area and then you live in it, or how it works. I need to see more. My guess is probably going to be a digital title anyway, but if it's physical, I'll be getting it, whether or not I play it. So far, the end of this year is so crazy already, and we're only in June. So if it comes out this year, I probably won't touch it.
Yeah, spring 2020. So
yeah, 2020. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Ryan saying in the chat he loves how Nintendo did focus on a lot of games this year. They put some 2020 titles in there, but a lot of them were games this year for sure, including this next one, which is out in basically just over a month. July 19th, we're gonna get Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order. I'm so excited about this game. Big fan of the first two games. We've talked about this in the past. One of the cool things that we found out was that as DLC content coming from Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Marvel Knights are going to be coming for this game, and kind of found a little bit more of the story, but not a whole lot more, because they need to keep that a little bit under wraps so you can kind of discover as you go. But I'm so excited for this game. Definitely going to be getting it for sure. Hassan, I know you're a pretty big fan of Marvel Ultimate Alliance as well. Are you pretty stoked for this one?
Yeah, so I've never played the Ultimate Alliance game specifically,
right.
but
Is that right?
I haven't played any of those.
Okay.
I actually haven't really played much Marvel games, but I love Marvel, though, like all the movies, all that stuff, and so I love all these characters, and so I will definitely be getting this. It does look pretty cool. In fact, I did the voucher thing on the eShop, and so I got Mario Maker, so I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to use it for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 because I think you can use the voucher for that. And I probably will end up getting the DLC as well because Fantastic Four and X-Men especially, I think, pretty cool. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
Cool. Greg, what do you think?
Pass.
Oh man, that's a
I've never
tough
really been. I've never been too much into like the Marvel and like DC and X-Men. I've like never really like dove into that stuff a lot.
one.
All right, Thanos snap. Boom. Oh, Greg, I don't think you feel so well. What's going on?
That's we're gonna have to talk offline about that one. All right, Barry, what do you I know you're getting this one because you get them all, but are you excited about Marvel?
This one I am. The Treehouse. I was excited before, but the Treehouse segment was really good. It's a no-brainer. I really want to get the DLC because I'd love to have that type of roster. It depends on A, the price, B, my status on the game when they come out. Because like if I beat the game completely and then like, oh, here's the DLC, $20, I'll be like, I'm not going back to the game right now or anytime soon. So that DLC is cool, but it's sitting on the floor. But if it comes out before or during my play, then I'll probably be like, all right, let me get these to get the characters in there.
Cool. Jakester said he's not interested in Marvel Ultimate Alliance either. So man, it's sad. It's so sad. But here's another game that I'm not interested in. It's Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring The Legend of Zelda. So we knew this was coming out already. There's been a lot of different rumors about when it was going to come out. People thought it might be like kind of shadow dropped during the Direct itself, and it came pretty close, June 13th. So we only got to wait 2 more days until Cadence of Hyrule is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Barry, I think you're a pretty big fan of this. You're pretty excited, aren't you? Are you going to be getting it right away? And are you pretty pumped to play?
This is probably that title that I will buy the download version of and pray for a physical. Only because it's Zelda. I have no choice.
Nice.
So I hope to be able to play some this week. But I'm one of those I'm praying for a physical.
All right. Hudson, what do you think about this one?
I am not sure. I like rhythm games. I am not as big of a fan of the 2D Zelda, but it's the Zelda franchise in a rhythm game format. So like maybe. So my thing is they actually have an eShop sale going on right now, and so the Crypt of the Necrodancer, just the regular one, not this Cadence of Hyrule one, is on sale for $4 out of what is it, 15 or 20 usually or something. So I'm kind of tempted to like get that and try it out for $4 and see. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of mixed still on this one.
Yeah, makes sense. Greg, what do you think?
I will have to tie the mix thing. I've never really been into the rhythm games as much, but I love Zelda, especially 2D Zelda. So that part of it makes me want to try it out, but I really got into rhythm games though.
Yeah, I'm the same. I did like Rhythm Heaven, but it wasn't enough to ever like get the game. I enjoy playing it, but it's not something that I really want to go to. So I really enjoyed the demos of it. It was like, because I was like, oh, cool, I can play this for like 15 minutes and like I enjoy it, and then I move on to something else. Rhythm games like Guitar Hero, those are always really fun. But this kind of never really excited me. But the Zelda thing, tie-in, it's like maybe, but probably not. Jakester's calling you out, Hudson. He's saying 2D Zelda's better than 3D Zelda. So
I agree 100%.
I
don't
do
know about
back
that
that
one.
too. A lot of the 2D Zeldas are on the top of my list outside of Breath of the Wild. So
it's true. What I didn't like was the DS and 3D, or the earlier game, the 2D ones. Like that's the handheld ones. So I wasn't a big fan of that one. But
the DS ones are garbage.
See,
but-
Phantom Hourglass was one of the only 2D ones that I probably liked. So
I enjoyed Spirit Tracks more.
I didn't play Spirit Tracks, but
like
Phantom Hourglass, I was having fun.
I didn't like controlling with the stylus. That was my big thing.
I enjoyed that. Maybe that's why. I don't know. See, I like the motion controls when they had that in Zelda. I like those things that the typical Zelda fans liked or didn't like rather are the things that I ended up liking. So I don't know.
I did like Phantom Hourglass. I did not like Spirit Tracks, but I didn't think Phantom Hourglass is anywhere near the top. Like where the originals are, like Awakening, the Oracle games, Even the NES ones. The Link Between Worlds are all much higher.
Yeah, we're gonna have to kind of maybe spend a whole podcast rating our Zelda games at some point. But moving on, because there's so much still to talk about. We're gonna try to fly through this next couple at least this next one, because I don't know if any of us are really excited about this, but it is coming out. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for Tokyo 2020 is coming out in November. So Hassan, you pumped about this one at all?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. Barry, excited?
Actually, I like the fact that Tails can beat the shit out of Peach in a Nintendo game. So yeah, I'm on board.
All right, fair enough. Greg, what do you think?
Mostly nope, but that like 8-bit or 16-bit graphic scene kind of intrigued me. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to know more that's about. But other than that, that's pretty much nope, because I haven't really been into the series.
I like the idea of the skateboarding. That's pretty cool to have in there. But the rest of them, I'm just like, karate, surfing, sport climbing, nah. But give me a Mario and Sonic Tony Hawk game. I might give that some time. But they moved on to this next title that Hassan, you might as well just sit out on this one because you don't know anything about this next title. It's called Animal Crossing. It's got a subtitle.
Happy Home Designer 2.
Yeah, Happy Home Designer 2. No, it's Animal Crossing New Horizons, the Switch version of Animal Crossing that so many people have been excited about, and we found out it's coming out on March 20th, 2020. 2020, not 2019. That's like almost. I mean, it's less than a year, but it's almost a year away now. So they had to push it back. But we do find out that you kind of moved to this island that kind of seems to be owned by Nook Incorporated. So you're going to be owing Tom Nook a lot of money again. We didn't really find out a whole lot that's happening, but they needed to push it back to 2020. Hassan, how do you feel about this?
I will say, so I absolutely love this franchise, and I'm very excited about this game. This was one of the most disappointing parts about E3 for me, for a couple of reasons. One being the delay, obviously. Now, granted, I know it's going to ultimately delay is better for the game and all that, but like, it's Animal Crossing. I've been wanting it for years. We didn't get it on Wii U. Like, it's finally here, and I expected it. I even been tweeting out, like, there's going to be a delay. There's going to be a delay. I just feel it, but it still was disappointing. The other part is, like, they didn't show much. And so...
Did you watch the Treehouse? Because they showed a lot, and they even stated in the direct, watch the Treehouse.
I mean, like, they showed some features of things, but, like... So one thing is, like, we're on an island, but they didn't... Like, what about... I'm used to, like, all the other buildings, all the other things that you can do and explore, and... all the other activities. Like, so they didn't really touch on any of that. This is just the early game, they said, right on, the initial part of the island. And so the stuff that they showed so there are definitely some improvements. And so I'm happy about like the ability to put like furniture and things outside, and that's pretty nice. Some of the crafting stuff I'm a little iffy on, just because it feels so much like stuff from Pocket Camp, which I was not a big fan of. Now, granted, I'm sure they'll remove it. It's not going to have all the monetization stuff that is tied with that, so that's better. But I just kind of wanted to like get a better feel of what else is in this game in terms of where else you can explore and see beyond this little chunk of the island that they just showed. And I want to know more about all the sort of online multiplayer stuff you can do, all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure is coming. And so that's part of why the reveal, I think, was disappointing, because this is sort of built up to be, it's coming this year, so they must unveil like everything now at E3. And of course, because of the delay, it means they have time to space things out. So I'm very much looking forward to the game. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure. I'm definitely excited about it. But just the reveal itself and the delay was disappointing.
Yeah, I hear you. Greg,
even my wife was like waiting, like she's been bugging me like every day. She's like, when's Animal Crossing? It's like Tuesday.
Yeah.
So she sat down to watch the Direct just for that. And at the end of it, like she kind of just walked away a little sad.
Oh.
I was like, oh no.
That's too bad. I know your sister's really into it as well. So like, your whole family is probably just disappointed today. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Greg, were you disappointed about the delay, or didn't really care about Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I'm not really huge into Animal Crossing, so that was like a hard pass. But I did want to remind Hassan that Wii U did have the Amiibo Festival, which I thought was your game of the year.
Yeah, well,
It's
I mean,
Animal
see,
Crossing.
here's the thing about Game of the Year. It was probably my Game of the Year by default because there was nothing else that year, so we do have to clarify that. But I was referring to, mainline games.
I know.
It was what, 2013, I think, was the last one or something?
I just had to pull
It's
your
been a
chain a
while.
little bit on that. Yeah.
Well, no,
New Leaf was the last
New
one.
Leaf was the last one.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was-
technically. Okay. I guess console. It's
Console
been
was
a little
City
while.
Folk.
Yeah. But New Leaf was awesome. Yeah.
So, all right, Greg, Barry, are you kind of disappointed? I mean, we all agree, sometimes, these delays are necessary to make a better game and everything, but were you bummed to hear it pushed back?
It was a little sad to see that it was delayed, but when Nintendo delays a game, it's one of those, you know what? The end result is going to be worth it. And when I took a look back at the rest of this holiday's lineup, I realized, holy crap, we got, an amazing AAA title every month, if not multiple. It's going to be packed, especially, and that's just Nintendo, especially factoring in third party. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be as missed. I think a lot of the same Animal Crossing crowd are also the part of the Pokemon crowd, and they know that, and they know putting Pokemon and Animal Crossing against each other is probably not the wisest thing. They'll cannibalize each other's sales for a lot of it. So if they get Pokemon now for the holidays and put Animal Crossing in March, give it some more polish. March is usually a slower time. So here we go, Animal Crossing, nice relaxing during the slow time.
Sure. Could be a good move in the end. Just makes people like us not really upset. They has to wait a little longer to pay off his debt to Tom Nook. So
hey, at least you're not waiting until 2022 for Metroid Prime 4. So
that's a good point. It's a good point. Well, at least Metroid Prime Trilogy was announced. No, it wasn't. What was announced, we did have a big sizzle reel of a bunch of different games. I'm just going to fly through it just like they did. Amazing games. But I'm just going to run through them all and then we kind of talk about which ones kind of stood out to you. But we found out Dead by Daylight is coming out September 24th. Stranger Things 3, the game, is going to come out on July 4th. Spyro, the trilogy is it's actually coming to Switch. It's been finally officially confirmed to September 3rd. Just Dance 2020 is coming on November 5th, also on Wii. And then Super Lucky's Tale is actually coming over this fall. Microsoft is also bringing Minecraft Dungeons in spring 2020. Ni no Kuni. Yeah, that's it. It's actually not that hard to pronounce. I just can't speak. Ni no Kuni remake, Wrath of the White Witch, is coming September 20th. Catan is coming. The board game is coming over June 20th. The Sinking City is coming this fall. Alien Isolation kind of caught us a little bit off guard. Is coming in 2019 at some point. Hollow Knight Silk Song is coming soon. That's all we know. Soon. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition is coming this winter. Dauntless is coming over in Q4 of this year. Wolfenstein Youngblood is July 26th, so right around the corner. Doom Eternal is also coming soon, as is the Elder Scrolls Blades is coming this fall. So lots of cool games, some announcements in there. That's some brand new stuff. Most of the stuff we knew already. We actually have some confirmed dates and everything. Some of them just soon coming. So, Greg, what are those that rundown really excite you that you're really pumped to be playing pretty soon?
Definitely Hollow Knight. I absolutely love their first one. I don't know if there's an expansion or a sequel, but whatever it is, it has the Hollow Knight name on it. Pretty much, boom, sold. Definitely getting that one. I wasn't quite sure, but the Stranger Things 3 gameplay footage actually looked somewhat intriguing, so I might end up looking into that one a little bit more. But I'm sure there's some other ones that I missed that I don't remember, like the trailer footage and then the name of the game that line up as well as those. But yeah, at least that's off the top of my head right now. Those are the ones that I'll be looking at.
Cool. Hassan, which ones stand out to you?
I think one actually, a little surprisingly, Minecraft Dungeons looks kind of interesting. I've never played Minecraft, but the style of it, always looked kind of interesting, and they showed it off at the Microsoft conference, and it actually kind of intrigued me. So I might actually look into that game. Yeah, but otherwise, I don't think there was too much else. Hollow Knight is one that I've heard a lot about the game, and I think it's on Game Pass on Xbox, so I might try it out there. And if I enjoy it, then maybe I'll look into this one or something. But I think the rest of them, there wasn't really anything in particular.
Cool. Yeah, Ryan's saying in the chat, too bad Telltale is done. He feel like they could have made a great Stranger Things game, and they were supposed to be doing that, and I agree. That would have been really great from them. Kind of unfortunate, but yeah. Barry, you're a big Telltale fan, so it's kind of nice transition into you. Which games from the sizzle reel really struck you?
I'm excited for people who didn't get a chance to play it yet. Ni no Kuni. It's a wonderful RPG. Studio Ghibli. Just truly nice. And if you enjoy Pokemon as well, there's a Pokemon aspect of catching monsters. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great story. Well worth playing. Spyro. I never played the original Spyro. I was all set to get it on the PS4, and then it was like, oh yeah, only the first game's on the disc and the seconds are download. And I'm like, really? This is a Blu-ray? Like, you could fit all 3 PS1 games on a Blu-ray. That's ridiculous. But now that it's coming to the Switch, so I'm going to be getting it physically. So I will. Hopefully, they're all on the card. Probably not, but I'll
Be
probably
the first
give those a
one
try.
and download
Probably
code for the other two.
Probably because they're terrible. People. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to think of the sizzle. Minecraft Dungeons. That one did surprise me because, like you, Hassan, I've never played Minecraft, or the Telltale story modes. There's ones, but yeah, it looks good. I love Diablo, and this reminds me of a Minecraft Diablo, so I'm definitely willing to give it a shot. Doom doesn't really do much for me, nor does Wolfenstein, but I'm glad they're there. I have started playing Elder Scrolls Blades on the phone because I said you can bring over your character. And so far it's interesting. I think I'd have more fun with it on a controller where I can actually move with an analog stick instead of tapping here, tapping here, tapping here. Combat's pretty simple. So I'm kind of interested in how that will translate to a controller because I know it also has motion control. But yeah, it definitely has the makings of a good game. You definitely has the mobile restrictions. Like, this chest you can open, and like a cheap chest will take 5 seconds, and a next level will take an hour, and then probably higher. I haven't had a higher chest yet. Or you could pay gems to open it right now, and gems cost real money, of course. So like, instead of like this big world like Skyrim, you have like a town that you're rebuilding, and you go on quest, and the quest will instantly take you to a little linear dungeon for you to go into and kill whatever you have to do, kill 10 goblins or free the villager or whatever, and then you get instantly transported back to the town. And it's definitely a mobile Elder Scrolls, and it's very good with the limitations of being a mobile phone game. How it translates to the Switch, I don't know, but it intrigues me because it's free. So, it's worth giving a shot for free.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else was in that sizzle. Obviously, Mario Maker 2 was in that sizzle reel. So, of course, we're, all interested in that.
Did you ever play the new Super Lucky's Tale?
No, that's another one that interests me. I got Lucky's Tale for the Xbox One and never got a chance to play it. So I'm not sure if this is a sequel to that or if it's a port with like an enhanced port or what it is. I got to look it up. But I love platformers. I always wanted to play it. I got it. I just didn't get a chance.
They took a naming convention on Nintendo's book with the
Yeah.
Super.
New and Super, yeah, yeah. That's one of the ones that interests me. I've never played the other ones, but it always looked interesting, and yeah, I'm excited that they're actually bringing that over to the Switch. Yeah, I'm excited. Spyro was finally announced. The original Spyro was one of my favorite games, and so that's cool to bring that trilogy finally. It's been rumored for so long that it's coming to the Switch, and I have friends that have been like, yeah, I got that Switch because I really like Spyro. You told me it was coming. When's the date? And I'm going, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I could finally tell them September 3rd. Catan looks interesting. I'm always interested in those the board game kind of stuff. What else was I excited about? Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition. Crystal Chronicles was a great game. I don't know if I'll get the Remastered Edition, but excited for people that maybe have not played that game to have that version for sure. Yeah, and I may dabble back into the Just Dance one. My wife likes it more than I do, but it's fun to have for parties and stuff like that. I haven't had one of those in a long time, but I'll get the Switch version, not the Wii version. But Barry's getting the Wii version, so.
Yes, Just Dance. I'm getting the Wii and the Switch version, of course. I have to. I have to for both sakes. I had the full Wii set minus Just Dance 2020, so I have no choice.
Oh well, from Just Dance, we move on to the surprise that's basically just like Just Dance coming to Wii. We got our second Smash Brothers DLC character in the form of two characters in one that a lot of people may be kind of excited for. That's right, Banjo-Kazooie is finally coming to Smash. Confirmed, coming this fall, and the internet went in a huge uproar and went crazy, and all the reactions that I've seen have been insane. Like the Nintendo store in New York City was just like ridiculously crazy in their reaction. Like people were like just like dogs and cats, living together, mass hysteria, all this stuff going on because Banjo-Kazooie is in fact coming to Smash Brothers Ultimate. Let's go to you first, Barry. How excited are you about Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash?
I'm very excited because that was my high school, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, and then there was the GBA game, which wasn't too bad, but then we of course got Nuts and Bolts, and that was like, this is pretty terrible, and that's all we had for Banjo-Kazooie for a long time, and it's one of the things that made me so sad when Nintendo sold Rare. And in the end of the day, some could argue that was a good decision, but I mean, they used the money for other things, but they lost a lot of good IP. And when Microsoft actually put them on the XBLA, they did like the HD versions of them. I actually bought both of them again because this was back when I was doing digital games. And I rebeat them on the 360, both of them. I absolutely love the Banjo-Kazooie games. So to see this, it's like really Smash is now bringing together my childhood from Dragon Quest now, from my elementary school days to the Banjo-Kazooie of my high school days. The thing I find really interesting about this is there was a interview with Phil Spencer about how did this happen, and he said the how is not actually that interesting. Obviously, we're one of the biggest third-party publishers on Switch, so we have great relations with their third-party team. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? Like, obvious? This isn't obvious. Does anyone else think of Microsoft as one of the biggest third-party publishers on the Switch? Have I missed something here? This is coming from Xbox boss Phil Spencer. Like, whoa, hold on. And the rest of it is nothing really interesting. They're like, hey, should we do it? Yeah, we were fine. Let's do it. Boom, 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 done. Rare said they were very happy to work with their old friends. But wait, what? Like, this still boggles my mind. Is there something else in the cards? Is there something we're not aware of? Like, do they have a lot of stuff in the in the pipeline to become one of the biggest third-party publishers on the Switch?
Sure looks like it. Because up until recently, there weren't really that many. So for Microsoft to kind of leapfrog in there, it actually does not that surprising to me.
It was Minecraft. The Minecraft story games were Telltale technically, and then Cuphead.
Yeah.
Cuphead, yeah.
Oh,
but
and now Super Lucky Tales or new Super Lucky Tale.
there are some more coming there, and maybe there's probably more on the way that he was kind of a little bit had in mind as well. I'm sure, and yeah, it definitely seems they're buddy for sure. So yeah, Hassan, what do you think about Banjo coming over to Smash?
I think it's pretty cool. My only experience with Banjo-Kazooie, like the games in the past, was, I think I played it a little bit at a friend's house, like on the N64, like back in the day. So I didn't really play much. I have it on the Xbox, and I've been meaning to play it. I just haven't gotten the chance to. But I think now I'll kind of dive in a little bit. But I know what the character represents and what it means, for Nintendo history and all that. So I think it's really cool to see that. And so I'm excited about it. And there were a lot of rumors going around about it, so I was kind of hoping, it would pan out, and I'm excited to see what it does mean for the future of this Microsoft Nintendo thing, and what could come of it. Definitely pretty nice to see. So yeah, I'm excited, and it's one of those things about any character they put into Smash Brothers, they put so much care and love into it. And so, like, for example, the composer, I think, of the game, so Grant Kirkhope.
Yep.
So he did the music for the reveal trailer, and he said that's going to be in the game as well. So they brought him back to to work on this. So they're not just throwing in the character and just calling it a day. Like, they're really showing some love to these franchises, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you guys are saying. I really love the fact that Banjo's in there, but I think I equally like what it represents and what that means. Not only for our current gaming industry, what Smash Brothers represents and all that stuff, but also what may be to come in the future. Greg, are equal thoughts about this reveal, or different?
Yeah, it's pretty much on the same page as Hassan. I never really actually played Banjo-Kazooie. I really want to add it to my homework list if I can get a copy of it. But it sounds like the game that
If you guys like Mario 64, you need to play this game. Both of them, the first two.
Yeah, I imagine so. That's what I've heard. But
maybe it's eventually coming to Switch. Who knows?
But I do have a new comment. I absolutely love the way how they use that same K. Rool entrance. Like when they did that in the other Direct, though, I absolutely love the fact that they were doing that. I mean,
you love
can't they
being
just
trolled,
do that?
huh?
Can't they just do that for all the upcoming releases? I mean,
it threw me off for a split second. I was like, "Wait, are they playing this trailer again? Or what's happening?" And then, I caught on.
It's just funny because Steve and Barry were going Dixie Kong, and I'm like,
I'm mad.
I'm like seconds behind, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. And they're already calling it, so I was just kind of watching it, and then when I see the reference of the pose and then the Duck Hunt dog, just totally trolls again. That was just so hysterical. I loved how they did that.
It is pretty funny how they just love to troll us over and over again, 2 or 3 times in the same reveal. And that was good. That was a solid ending. Normally they're like, hey, we start off with a DLC character from Smash, we're gonna end with a DLC character from Smash. Awesome, pretty good Direct. Had its ups and downs, but pretty really strong overall, especially compared to the other stuff. And then they said they had one more thing.
And Steve, actually, by the way, when they actually showed this Direct to industry people, that's how the Direct ended. Just at this point, apparently, that's what somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody, one of the big media site writers, tweeted that out, saying that this was the point where the Direct ended for people that they showed it to early.
Nice. So this caught everybody off guard then. So that's exciting. And yes. So if you listened or watched our last podcast, we talked about our predictions, and I threw out one that I was a prediction, but if I'm really honest with myself, I really didn't think it was going to happen. But it was just more of a pipe dream, more of exciting. It was it'd be really cool if we did see it, and some different stuff comes on screen. And initially, Barry thought it was Eternal Darkness, which I would have equally been excited about. If that
was
was
like Eternal Darkness, like the glyphs and stuff from that game.
It really did, and I was going there with you for a second, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden, you start to see some Zelda characters, and you realize it's in the same kind of graphical style as Breath of the Wild, and And then we start wondering, is this DLC or maybe what is this and everything? And then we find out that this is a direct sequel, that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is getting a direct sequel, and they're starting to work on it. That's pretty much all we know. Everything else is completely unknown. We except for it looks like someone's like the Hyrule Castle is either exploding or taking off in the sky, or I don't know, something's happening to the castle. And it looks like there's some undead sort of things going on. It's a very dark feeling, almost a little bit like the other direct sequel we had one time called Majora's Mask. So I don't know, but I'm pretty excited that we actually got a glimpse of the next Zelda game. So yeah, let's just go around the horn again. What do you think of this announcement? Greg, let's go to you first.
Super incredible. I love the Breath of the Wild. It's like one of my favorite Zelda games of all time already, even though if it's the most recent one. So I'm all on board for the next one already. So at least when I saw like that skeleton like thing, it reminded me like Ganondorf. So I was like, what the heck? Like I thought this is like where he's going back to human form now or something. So I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see until we get more information.
Yeah. Wolf Bunny thinks it's going to be an M-rated one. He thinks it's going to go all out M-rated. It would be really interesting. I don't think they're going to go that way, but that would be interesting. It is pretty dark, but I don't think quite M-rated. What do you think, Hassan?
I mean, this is a sequel to quite possibly one of my favorite games of all time. So yes, I'm very, very excited about this one. I cannot wait. It looks really cool. The little teaser we got. I mean, maybe like is Link like being possessed or something? Are we going to play as Zelda? Like, who knows? I mean, they could really change it up. How much of the existing map's going to be the same or not? Like, so many questions. But the little snippet we got is pretty cool. So now it's just a matter of waiting. And I don't know. It's one of those things that that now there's going to be speculation of when it's coming out. I actually think there's a potential it could come holiday 2020, maybe spring 2021, might be more reasonable, but potentially it could be next year. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One being, there's this one industry person that, before the Link's Awakening announcement for Switch mentioned that there'd be a 2D Zelda Link's Awakening coming to Switch this year and a 3D Zelda next year. And obviously we just got the 3D Zelda announcement. But also, Nintendo rarely shows games that are too far early in advance. And if they do, they often later say that they regret showing it because then there's delays or different things like that. Obviously, we saw the whole Metroid thing where they just showed the logo. And then, of course, the later delay, too, just broke all our hearts, right? So I don't see them doing something super far in advance either.
Hassan, may I remind you of a little game, you might have heard it, called Breath of the Wild, where they did show us stuff and it got delayed many times.
Sure, but also right. So it could be delayed, and so I think I think it's potentially they could say holiday 2020 and then it gets delayed to later or something. But also I think that was unique because it was a Wii U and Switch, kind of that cross-gen sort of a thing, a Switch launch title. So I think it was a little bit different. They already have the game engine here. Like they don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. And also holiday 2020. Microsoft and Sony have got brand new systems. Nintendo might need something to kind of get the attention on them as well. So potentially, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, I should say.
This could be a crossover Switch Pro. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? But either way, even if it is into 2021, it's still very exciting, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about it.
Yeah, for sure. What are you saying, Gary?
I was going to say I can't wait for Game Explain's like 2-hour analysis on like this,
like 15 seconds.
But not only that, but I do believe that they might be targeting 2020, but it's more than likely going to be, 21 or hopefully not 22. But I guess it depends. I mean, they do have the engine. They do have they're probably going to carry over a lot of the physics and stuff like that. So I think with all of that hard stuff done, this shouldn't be that later unless they really run into some problems with the features and stuff. So
Yeah, the last DLC came out, December 2017, I think. So they've had 2018, 2019, potentially if it's holiday 2020, then most of 2020 to use the same engine, all that stuff. So 3-year turnaround potentially.
Majora's Mask was done in 2.
Exactly. Yeah, Majora's Mask popped out a little quicker because of that too. So yeah. What do you think, Barry?
I mean, I'm stoked. Technically, according to the official records, Breath of the Wild was my game of the year for 2017. In reality, that was Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I just didn't really have a fair chance to play that game. But yeah, I'm a lifelong Zelda fan from the very beginning. So there's a no-brainer. I'm excited. I'm also a little saddened because I thought for a second we really did have a new Eternal Darkness, and now I really want a new Eternal Darkness again. Because damn, that franchise needs a revival. Nintendo's just sitting on a gold mine. But honestly, if you took out Link and Zelda, it would look like Eternal Darkness. It was, had that same vibe. But the more I think about it, Hassan, you might be right. This could be a 2020 release. This could be a holiday. It's no surprise that PS5 and Scarlet are looking towards a 2020 holiday release. And if Nintendo is obviously staying with the Switch, there's no new hardware. Even if they don't do a Switch Pro, they're going to need something to combat that. And what better game to throw at that than that? And who knows, maybe they'll do Mario Odyssey 2 at the same time and do a double punch. But yeah.
Do you imagine a repeat of 3D Mario and 3D Zelda like in the same year? Oh man!
Oh, could you imagine? They've already done it. It was 2017.
Right. So I was saying a repeat of that would be insane.
I mean, here's something you have to look at this Direct. And this Direct was great. I mean, most people are saying they've won E3, and I agree. It was a fantastic Direct. But if you look at this Direct, outside of Zelda Breath of the Wild, outside of Trials of Mana from third party, every game, maybe that mobster game, whatever, but every other game was already previously announced or is a port of a game that's already out. Every single game in this entire Direct. This Direct was amazing. Yet we knew there was no big surprises outside of Smash reveal, which was DLC. So if you think about that, and you think about 2020, with Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, still on the docket, now Animal Crossing over there, what are they keeping? What are those other things that they haven't shown us anything new? Usually E3 is when they show us new things. They didn't show us a single thing new outside of Zelda at the very end, and that's clearly not a right away game. That's going to be in a while. So what could they possibly be having? They've got to be keeping all their cards really close to their chest with a bunch of stuff if they didn't reveal anything other than Zelda as a new title for this entire Direct, which further proves my padding thing, because hey, we got to have E3 Direct and we have to have no new games. Let's do this. And still they pulled it off. So I'm really excited for next year for sure. But they've got to have something up their sleeve.
Yeah. I clearly so excited about the next Zelda game. I'm thinking 2020, holiday 2020 sounds about right, especially for all the reasons we talked about. Let's quickly, we've talked a lot. All right, tonight, we've already put over an hour longer, more than we normally do, just because there's so much here. But I think to wrap up, what I would love to do is just kind of get your final thoughts, maybe even kind of offer a grade, if you will, for the Nintendo Direct, the presentation. Maybe take into account the Treehouse, because that really is in connection with what they do and everything around E3. They kind of extend it the whole day. But if you were to give a grade for Nintendo's presentation, specifically the Direct, but also a little bit into the taking Treehouse into account, how do you think Nintendo did this year? Let's go to you first, Greg.
I was actually going to give it an A, despite all of the games that I'm not quite interested in. It's just the ones that I am interested in is like top tier games. It's like Smash Brothers. It's Legend of Zelda, both the remake and the new one. It's Fire Emblem. I mean, it's really hitting.
Mario Maker 2.
Oh yeah, Mario Maker 2. How did I forget that one? That wasn't in Steve's reel, so that's.
Well, it wasn't a reel though.
I know, but it wasn't in his recap of it. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, all these are really high quality games that are like favorites of series of mine. So it's just basically just missing Mario Kart to be absolute perfection for me. So.
All right. Sounds pretty good. Let's go to you next, Barry. How do you think they did?
Despite not having any real new surprises, I honestly have to give them an A+. And the reason for that is they kept swinging for the fences, and they kept hitting the ball out of the park virtually every time. They showed gameplay with the games. They weren't just CG trailers. They were funny. They had the whole bit with Bowser. The presentation had a little drag parts, and those are the few things that would knock it down. But virtually every game spoke to me. I'm a huge RPG nut, so I love the mana stuff. I love Panzer Dragoon. I obviously love Zelda. Those are all great. These things like Ni no Kuni and Witcher 3 and Fire Emblem and even that Dark Crystal is a tactics game I might enjoy. There was just so much. That's not even factoring in Luigi's Mansion or Animal Crossing. There's a lot to it. There's literally Astral Chain, Demon Ex Machina. Like, I felt like they were just bringing their big guns, and they were all big guns we knew about, but they're just good big guns, and it has me so excited for the rest of this year, especially because the first part of this year was it was slow. It was painfully slow. And I hope this isn't the trend. I hope we aren't going to have painfully slow early parts with like one or two Nintendo games only, and then a jam-packed second half. That's how 2018 was. That's how 2019 is. But yeah, like the only parts I would take off would be the slow parts or the extra padding. But I understood why they did it. But I'd still give them an A+.
Wow. All right. Lesson, how do you grade them this year? How do you think they did?
I think I would have to go with a B+. And my reason is, one, there's a little docket for that Animal Crossing thing. It just it hurts my heart because I want that game. But I think the biggest thing is, look, B+ is still solid. I think the biggest thing is I'm looking at the list of stuff. There's not a single new game announcement that like I immediately want to play. The closest thing I can maybe see scrolling through the list is No More Heroes 3 that I'm kind of like, oh, looks interesting. I might want to look into it. But there just wasn't anything new. I mean, what they showed was solid.
Trials of Mana.
Well, I don't know if I'm excited about it. But so there wasn't anything for me that personally got me really excited. And so it's hard for me to grade something to give an A rating if there's not a single new game announcement that gets me really hyped, as is typical. But everything they showed is solid, and I'm excited. There's multiple great games on the way. So B+ is still pretty good. But the one game that for the first time we got to see with Animal Crossing was delayed. So it's like, I want to give it that A, but just kind of a little bit down a peg because of that.
Yeah, makes sense. There was definitely some high points in this one. I'm a little more critical this year than I have been in the past years. I think I love the fact that they were like, they said that there was games for everybody, but they targeted a certain audience this year. And I think it was a smart audience. They targeted, a little more the hardcore audience. And I think that's awesome. And I think they need to, and because I think that people, gamers like that, get some hype around that, and they can kind of actually carry the casual gamers kind of will come along no matter what. But to get hardcore gamers excited about some stuff, they announced some cool things. But because it wasn't brand new, a lot of brand new stuff, I'm being a little more critical as well. I'm just a little bit upset that they also didn't really announce the SNES Online or anything like that. There was no like updates to anything like that. I'm like, why not? That could have been some padding in there. They got to be working on it. add that in there instead of spending 3 minutes with kids walking to the woods to play Resident Evil 1. Like, just to announce that sort of stuff could have been really cool. To make it just like, okay, yeah, they really get it. They almost got it, but I think they really could have got it if a little tweaks here and there, and if they had more brand new stuff that really got me. So I'm thinking, I was thinking B, but the more I thought about it, I'll bump it up to a B+ as well, solid B+. Because yeah, I think it was really good. I think my biggest thought is I wonder if I would have graded it so high if the rest of the presentations from the other companies weren't that great. Like if they were also good, would Nintendo's have like been as high in comparison? I think I'm rating them higher because the others were worse this year. It didn't take a whole lot for Nintendo to win.
You know what?
As I guess what I'm saying.
One thing to think about too, that whole Resident Evil kids in the cabin thing. For all we know, that was sent to them by Capcom, and they're like, "Shit, do we really have to use this? Like, do we have to work this in? Can't we just say Resident Evil 5 and 6?" Like, no, we spent money on that. Like, you better use that in your direct. Like, God, I guess we have no choice. All right, let's try to work this in here. That may not be Nintendo's fault.
Maybe, but I feel like they got enough like push to be like, hey, we need to tweak that because we're Nintendo. Like,
right.
But
and I should say as well, just to clarify, because I said there was not a single big new game announcement. Obviously, we got a 3D Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel announcement, and that's probably what bumped mine up from a B to a B+ right there. But it also was a game announcement with zero indication of when it's coming out. You know, so it doesn't really. The hype is coming, but it's just not there yet. But obviously, a great announcement.
Right. Pretty much seems like everybody else in the chat is kind of thinking the same thing. Jakester threw out 8 or maybe 9 out of 10. So everybody's pretty excited about this one. It's going to be cool if some other games were announced, but a lot of people are pretty excited about Nintendo this year. It seems like Nintendo is the name that we're hearing a lot at this E3, and that's really cool. I think for Nintendo fans, we're excited to hear more about Nintendo, more games coming their way. Even if they're all not brand new games, we're actually getting some a lot of third party this year. So that's been really cool.
You know, there's one thing we didn't talk about, and it wasn't Nintendo, but it was another show that wasn't talked about, and it was a good show.
Yeah, what was that?
Limited Run Games put on a show for E3. And there were a lot of Switch stuff announced.
Cool. So
Power Rangers Battle for the Grid getting a physical release.
Yep, Powers of the Grid.
I saw that and I was like, Barry, you're gonna be happy.
Yep, I already got the collector's edition pre-ordered. That is nice. Did you see that steelbook?
Yeah.
The steelbook has the different coins, and you can magnetic coins on. I'm like, that's cool. Turok 1 and 2 is getting a physical release. That's for the Switch. Rogue Legacy is getting. Freedom Planet is getting. A bunch of Star Wars stuff is getting, but we don't know what systems they're for yet. Secret of Monkey Islands are also coming, but again, we don't know what systems they're for. But Blazing Chrome is coming. Blaster Master Zero is finally getting a physical, and they actually announced the 3DS game. The Atoy collection is coming to the 3DS. That's like Mutant Muds, both of those, Zeo Drifter, and 2 others. It's like 5 games. Cool. So like it's a lot there for Switch owners that like physical. But yeah, it's awesome in my opinion. And if you're like me, freaking Mist is coming to Switch. Like it's things on everything. But yeah, let's get a Switch version.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. More games you gotta buy though. But
all of them. I gotta get them all.
Gotta catch them all. Oh man, we have went so long already. I think I'm going to skip over to all the games that we're going to be hoping to play and everything in the next couple of weeks because we've been talking a long time, and I don't know, a lot of our listeners, our viewers are probably already ready to turn us off already. So we're going to skip over that this time, but we will be back in 2 weeks. Which means we're back on our regular Monday schedule. So our next podcast will be on June 24th. So we'll kind of jump back on our every other Monday schedule on this next episode. Thanks for kind of moving into things around with us on the last 2 because of holidays and then E3 on moving to Tuesday and everything. So thanks for being flexible with us. But thanks so much for joining us for another episode of the NintendoFuse Podcast. Remember, if you are new here, we would love for you to subscribe. I'd love to hit that that bell. Love for you to hit the like button on YouTube as well. Subscribe on your favorite podcast apps of choice. Share with others. All that stuff would be amazing. And if you are watching later after the fact, all the stuff that we talked about E3, we'd love to hear your comments. So throw those in the comment section down below, and we'd love to hear all your thoughts about E3 2019. Thanks so much for joining us, Greg. It's been a pleasure. Hassan, thanks so much for joining us again, for being a special guest. And Barry, it's always great to talk games with you guys.
Absolutely.
So happy E3, and yeah, we'll see you around on the interwebs. Be sure to join us on social media and Discord and all that stuff to keep talking E3 with us.
Absolutely. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah.